welcome back to Twin Destiny Episode 7. And much like Prince said, we are going to party like it's very close to October the 10th, 2015. Because that's when the last episode was. And we have a few folks from that episode on. Ellie is going to be joining us next episode because she's just jumping back into the game. And but we do have Peter Cleaves.
Good evening.
And we have Gavin Russell.
Gavin Weir.
No, we don't.
Hello.
He's done ya.
I don't know the difference between the two of you. It's Gavin Gav.
It's fine.
It was Lady Gav for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been done.
Hello, anyway, how are you?
World record for fastest death in a podcast.
Now you say this is the point where I go like, love is, can I have a second take? And he goes, no, that's staying in.
No, we're
just
live.
like the intro to the last one. Yeah, it's Gavin Weir.
Hello.
Hi. Just like I completely and utterly prepared.
Yes.
So, who knew that this was going to happen again? Not me stuffing up, obviously, but us doing this podcast. Because I'd retired it on the site.
I don't think I've got the intro music anymore, so whatever you just heard probably isn't the intro music from the last episode.
I did tell you to rip it from us.
Yeah, I know, but it's like I always blend it in nicely at the start, and it would be a little bit of weird cross chatter. It's just not clean.
I loved the way that you blended in the start of the last episode of Oh the Humanities. That was really blended. It was seamless from the
one
way
time
that we started the recording.
Okay,
right.
You're putting everyone on blast. Go on, get Pete. Go on, get Pete now.
Nice, he's a good lad.
I've been sitting here on Skype waiting since the last episode. It's been a long time.
This is why when you came on the call, you were like, you turned tired. He's like, finally. Just like, sitting with like a carpet level like beard. Like, what? That sounds orange. So yeah, it's to sort of delve back a bit to sort of Paddy and I from the start. I mean, we both got into Destiny. It was imperfect, but it was compulsive. It brought friends together, and we kind of, those friends sort of spoke in a way that we haven't really before or since on games. We just kind of nattered and shot the shit and shot the peeps, and it was good fun. I bought my PS4 for Destiny.
Wow.
I think I did the demo on Xbox 360. So yeah, God, that was a while ago. Paddy and I were both on the Ken and Rinse episode for Destas. So Destiny 2 seemed like a shoo-in, except it wasn't.
Yeah, like a lot of the press, like I don't know, it just seemed quite bad. Like it just looked like they fucked it up.
That's one way to put it, I suppose.
Yeah, like I was watching the press come out, and like the reviews were like, "Nah, it's alright," but they've changed this, they've changed that, and that's all different now. And I'm like, do I need this right now? Probably not.
Yeah, but I think you're missing a sort of a take here, because in July last year, 3 months before Destiny 2's release, we both got crazy into Warframe. A bunch of other folks jumped on with us. We figured stuff out as we went along, and Warframe seemed very much an us thing. Momentum was definitely there, and the closer Destiny 2 got to release, the louder the feeling was that kind of we wanted to carry on in our own direction, and that, you know, you could listen to anybody talk about Destiny 2, but this was something that we were kind of getting deeper into. We were enjoying everybody playing along with us and sort of figuring it out. Destiny 2's unveiling was all sort of pizzazz, and it looked great on that Twitch stream, but given the stuff shown at that Twitch stream was the stuff that was in the demo to come after, I guess I was underwhelmed by it. I don't know if it was because it held no surprises, or did anybody watch that stream or sort of play the demo, and what were the thoughts?
I think I just brought it off for the sake of like I've got a problem when it comes to hype. Like if something is hyped to the point where you can't ignore it, I'll just be like, oh, for God, right, I'll buy it, fine. So I mean, I think on the build up to it, I think it was possibly because you guys were all playing Warframe, and that was something that's never really quite clicked with me. I knew no one would be playing Destiny 2 when it came out. I think Pete, you brought it, if I remember. I think we had a couple of games together. But,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I just kind of brought it for the sake of, well, if it's as good as the last one, it'll still be brilliant. But yeah, there was something a little bit amiss with the launch game. I can never quite put my finger on what it was, but it was probably the friends that were missing. But
Yeah, I think
that's right. You heard it here first. It's our fault.
Yes, it's all your fault. You basically ruined a year for me, you guys, by not playing this game.
Again.
I think it's
bloody CJ every time.
I think it's worth discussing like how we all ended with Destiny 1 as well, because like again, I was as we've said at the beginning of this episode, I was surprised how long it had been since you guys had recorded the last episode. Because we did actually play more of Destiny 1 after that episode. It was you just
we
never
played
covered
tons,
it,
didn't we?
Yeah, I didn't realise how much we played, because I thought, obviously we all brought the Taken King, and that's how we got into it. And I thought House of Wolves, was it House of Wolves? Yes. I thought that came quite soon after Taken King, but apparently it was like the next March that launched, or the next January. I can't remember the dates, but
do you mean Rise of Iron?
Rise of Iron, sorry.
Yeah,
House
Rise of Iron,
Wolves.
which was the original DLC, wasn't
yes,
it?
Of course it was. So yeah, I was really surprised by how much time we actually all put into that game. I thought it was over like the span of like 4 or 5 months, but it looks like we'd done like 9, maybe 10 months on that game. Like very surprised
and it was
how much time.
Almost every night as well. It was like every other night. There was at least 3 or 4 of us about
Definitely.
to sort of just have a bant and do a shoot.
Yeah,
because I remember on that, because I'm looking at the text on the last podcast, we got 6, including 3 newcomers going to the Vault and Glass. Plus, we dive into the Taken King. So yeah, I remember at that point we were ready to do the Vault of Glass with 2 others, and I think they kind of just didn't answer on the night, and then it was the 2 Gavs were just like, can we have a go? So, yeah.
I believe it was. I believe I was a very, very late substitute for one of Ellie's friends. I think was supposed to join, but she couldn't make it. I think Gav just dropped me a text and said, "Hey, if you need your PS4, we need someone for Vault of Glass." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that."
I just remember how exciting it was. I mean, I'd been through 2 runs of it before. One of them, I was just made to feel kind of a little bit stupid because folks had run it a number of times, and with Vault of Glass there's that bit where it's like go into the door, go into the portal, shoot the things, don't get black. I still have no idea how I even vaguely got through that, but the time after that people were just quite relaxed and quite cool, and sort of a little easier going with stuff. But it certainly, that first time, put me in a place where I kind of didn't fully enjoy it, because when you can hear people go like when you like die and stuff, it's like, just play a video game. So this was kind of nice that Pete was so sort of kind with us all, with leading us all through it,
especially since
everybody having fun.
Yeah, we're fairly, I don't want to say the word casual, but we're not exactly hardcore Destiny gamers. Like, we don't, dive into the meta and make sure we're kind of like doing everything as fast as possible and the speediest way possible. We were very much going through Vault of Glass like a bunch of idiots, with Pete kind of guiding us very gently, very calmly towards the actual goal, and we were just like, ooh, what's this shiny thing over here? Ooh, can I jump down this gap? No, that's death. How about if I try it now? No, that's death.
Now, you see, I would have painted that in a different sort of picture within that it just felt like we were all going into the adventure like a bunch of kids going into like the never-ending story or something. It was like, oh my god, look at this draw, all like Goonies and stuff, and you got all that stuff where it just felt like we thought we knew the game inside out, but here was the unknown. It was like massive drops. It was, Christ, I still get a knot in my stomach when I think about having to jump away from a mountain to then curve back around and like grip onto it on the other side. And that's it was something that I've rarely seen in games, that level of just adventure, and especially with us all on this kind of fucking school trip with Pete as the teacher, which is kind of cool as well, because on that I did Deft Peter's Society for Dead Poets Society on the artwork on the bit. But yeah, it was cool, and that that was part of the adventure.
Yeah,
No, not at all. Yeah, that's still generally my favourite memory of Destiny 1. That particular run we did. And you guys are selling yourself short. You guys all picked up on it a lot quicker than I thought you would. Not because I'm not. That's not a slight on your your behaviour, your attitude. It's just that some things like try and explain the oracles for the first time. It's like, yeah, there's these golden orbs that if you don't shoot them in quick enough, they're going to kill everyone. And we don't know where they appear necessarily. They just make a weird chiming sound. Trying to explain that, and then whilst also fighting lots of bad guys and avoiding the boss, which you can't hit now, but you have to hit later. There's a lot to take in, especially the first time around.
I do remember we very quickly right, you guys go in the centre, we'll go left, you go right. Like CJ, you stay where you are, and we did organise ourselves pretty quickly actually, if I remember.
I do remember on one of the other strikes that we did later on. There was lots of sort of, you run there, and then we've got to go there, and then we've got to crouch and be in the shadow when the thing burps, and then there was a certain point where I was like, I am going to shoot the things in front of me. And
that
Pete
was the
Pete
King's
like,
Fall one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Pete, trying to work that out. Yeah,
and Pete was like, I will stand beside you, and I was like, thank you for legitimising me, senpai.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I think I enjoyed doing Vault of Glass. Like that was really fun. Like as a first raid experience, that one go, that 4-hour session we did, where it was going to go off the reset if we didn't do it that night. It's like we're all staying up then, aren't we? We're getting this done. If it kills us, I'm in the past. Oh no. I think I preferred. Crota's End was fine. I think I preferred the first time we got the War Priest in King's Fall. How fucking long did that take us?
I think we were hitting that for about 2 weeks. Like
it was
not every night.
It was exhausting, wasn't it? It's like we can do this. We're so fucking close. Every night we were getting close and like trying to work out what the things on the back of the rocks meant. Like if you kill your knight first, then we hit that button, and if we it's reverse order on the second one. And then Ellie's husband Steve going, nah, they're just like up on the back, guys. Like, oh.
I'll tell you what was a bad memory on this, and I think at least 2 people on this call can relate to it. Was those fucking disappearing ships and being the last person to get across to the other side, and it would just been like
everybody waiting for it. Like, guys, if we push on, then you'll probably just die and spawn near us. So can you just wait where you are? Don't worry, we'll find you. Yeah, that was a horrible bit. I've just actually looked onto my YouTube history, and I remember I live streamed that.
I know,
I've just come across the video, so I'm.
Oh, you live streamed War Priest?
Yeah, I've got 2.
I knew you did Vault of Glass.
Oh shit!
I've got just going from my history. I've got one entitled Crota's End First Time Run, which I believe we did it all in one run.
Like an hour and a half.
Yes, yeah. We've got King's Fall raid the first time. We've got War Priest Attempt 1, and about 2 weeks later, there's a video called War Priest Falls with lots of exclamation marks. So I guess it took.
I'm gonna have to check some of those out.
I will. I'll show you the links, CJ, when we're done here.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't mind giving these a watch again, just for
Yeah, so to step it back a bit for the listeners. So like obviously. Vault of Glass was the first raid, and that was the one that Bungie probably spent the most time on because it was the end game for the original launch of Destiny.
It was like the showcase, wasn't it? Like
so then
look at what this game can be.
Crota's End is then the second raid, which is widely regarded as being quite rushed, and as probably demonstrated, you could get it done in like about an hour if you know what you're doing. It's considered relatively short. I mean, it's still good fun, but yeah, it's just not. It's not held in such high regard as Vault of Glass. And then similarly, I think for King's Fall, again, they had more time to work on it, but then to sort of tie into what CJ said, I think they deliberately worked to make things just a bit more complex than Vault of Glass, because to them, the seasoned Destiny players had already got the hang of that sort of thing, so they need to make everything, turn it up the dial a bit and make everything a bit harder. So like now, the jumping platform isn't just stationary platforms that disappear and then you've got to jump around a rock in the mountain. Now it's ships that are moving that then will disappear, then you got to jump to this one, then you got to wait on the platform, then jump to this one, and it's just making everything a bit more complex.
Yeah, and that jump where you basically had to jump almost like the ship appeared directly in front of you, and if you didn't time your jump properly, it would push you away, so you kind of had to jump through the ship as it was materializing to land on top of it. Good God, Bungie, what were you thinking?
That was the fucker.
I just got the feeling with the later raids that they would almost like trying trying to force themselves into almost like tricking the player base or proving that they were more much more intelligent than the people that were playing it. Whereas the Vault of Glass just seemed like this sprawling adventure that they were excited for people to traverse and try and figure it out. It seemed Vault of Glass seemed more sincere, and those that followed much more kind of conniving and
almost like
less well intentioned.
They were like, "Oh, you didn't like Crota, right? Fine. You thought Crota was easy. Okay, mate. Yeah, let's see what you think of this one then, shall ya?" And almost like they definitely went out of their way to make it as difficult and tricky as possible, which I guess it was part of the fun of it, but it was also incredibly difficult for like you kind of average player like ourselves to kind of jump into it. Like I think it would probably take about 4 or 5 run throughs that before you actually start to enjoy it in the way that you could enjoy Vault of Glass.
It's worth noting as well, like when we did King's Fall, we did try and, at least I certainly didn't look anything up, but like we were trying to work it out, weren't we? Like ourselves. Turns out we couldn't.
Definitely. No, I don't remember. I don't look anything up ourselves. I think we were relying on Ellie's husband, weren't we, Stephen? So, like if we got stuck too far into it, and it was like, oh, the reset's tomorrow. Steve, what do we do?
What are we doing wrong?
Yeah,
it kind of was that thing as well. Where it's like, you may have defeated Crota, but I tell you what, Crota's second cousin is really pissed, and it was just like different members of Crota's family, just like,
Crota's like, I'll get my dad on you.
Well, I mean, in Destiny 2, I don't know how many strikes that you guys have done, but in a couple of the strikes, no spoilers, but you do kind of fight other members of Oryx's family, I think. Or it's like other parts of his clan. I might be talking, like, there's probably someone shouting at their computer at the moment, because I'm completely wrong. But, I'm sure one of the strikes, I'm pretty sure you go up against one of Oryx's brothers or something like that.
The Hive just love inbreeding. Everyone's related to each other.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it comes down to.
I think really there is the point where they announce a bad guy, and you're just quite relieved when it's not a ball.
Yeah.
Things went very quiet on my end at this point. I was thinking like they're joking around.
Sorry, your audio cut off on my end, but anyway.
Yeah, I was just going to politely sit here and wait and just go, oh yes, of course.
I'm not editing, that's staying in. Did you guys play Rise of Iron then? Because we all did a bit of that, didn't we?
Yeah, Rise of Iron was fantastic.
I never played the raid of that. That's the only thing that I didn't get to.
I only found out there was a raid for that about a week ago when my friend at work said, "Oh yeah, you did the Rise of Iron raid." I was just like, "What?"
No,
sadly. Raid. I was just like, "What?"
So I think, like, again, on paper, we went into King's Fall with like good intentions. Like, let's work it out together. This will be really exciting, and then it actually just turned out to be quite a drag.
Convoluted.
What's a Weaver's aura?
God, and like, sadly, I think for like the Milky Scorpions group, that was kind of like the beginning of the end. It's like, so I played a lot of Rise of Iron, but no, similarly, I didn't do the raid because by that point I didn't have anyone like left to play it with. I think I was still playing strikes with Gav, Paddy, Ellie occasionally, but certainly by that point we had all sort of stopped dropping off. So we certainly weren't on as regular as we had been before.
Yeah, that's probably true. I really liked Rise of Iron, but to be fair, you set a game in snow or during winter, and I'm going to be a massive fan of it anyway, especially if you release that game at winter, because there is nothing better than playing wintry games at winter.
I still remember Paddy getting that helmet that looked like a fox was on top of you, your mask, and then hiding behind a desk, and it just looked like Basil Brush was.
The Iron Banner one. Yeah, I loved wearing that helmet. I was a big fan of that.
Nothing has ever made me more jealous of the Hunter class than that armor. That was fantastic.
Hunters represent.
Yeah,
because I think my last great multiplayer memory of the original Destiny was Prison of Elders, which I absolutely adored. It was just it was fun. It was a little bit sort of tricky, but it was panicky and exciting, and you didn't know sort of quite what kind of mix you were going to get. And then at the end, it was just like, drop into a few floors of jewels. It was like, he just felt like Scrooge McDuck in that like gif where he like,
yeah. I remember that was
backwards.
Prison of Ours was fantastic.
One of the most hectic experiences I think we've had on that. I definitely didn't we do like 3v3 one night? We just linked up. We both had to go at the same time. Just like, run, move, run.
Us were on at once. Yeah. Well, I mean, not to jump ahead too far then, but if you liked that, I've got a feeling you boys are going to love Gambit.
I like what I've seen of Gambit. I like it a lot. It just seems like a little bit of imagination has gone into it.
Yes,
it doesn't
definitely.
seem like, in the same way as we were talking about the Vault of Glass, it doesn't seem like they're sort of trying to show how intelligent they are to the game base, and in the way of like, oh, this is really convoluted. You've got to do this. You've got to do this. Got to do this. It seems like something that's succinct and sincere and kind of clever without being overcomplicated.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to be cynical a little bit about it, I'd say I think they've geared it more towards like, it feels like an esport sort of thing, because you have got two teams fighting against each other, and there are ways of kind of screwing over each team, but it's so much fun that I can, ignore the cynical part of my brain for a change and just like kind of just enjoy the absolute chaos that they've constructed around it. I think I said it last night in the DM chat, but my God, it's easily one of the best multiplayer modes I've ever played.
So you've got two different rooms, and there's different enemies in each room, and you get something that you can kind of put in like a blocker.
Yes. Yeah. So essentially, you get waves of enemies will spawn. Your team has to kill those enemies and collect little tokens. I can't remember what the tokens are called again. Someone's probably screaming at me.
Moats.
Yeah, let's go with moats. Teabags. Yes, teabags. Let's go with teabags.
Yes.
And so if you can manage to drop 5 teabags into the into the point at once, you will release what's called a blocker on the other team's side, so they can no longer drop any moats in until they defeat an enemy. And the more moats you drop at once, the bigger and more powerful the blocker will be. So if you can hold on to 15 moats before you die, because if you die you lose any moats you were holding, you will then send a really powerful taken enemy to the other player's world. So that
like a Burko Tia with 15 tea bags in it.
Yes, exactly like that. So yeah, it's like you get this. It's a great it's a great gambit between playing safely. Thank you.
Whoa.
Playing safely and like kind of dropping off the moats as you get them, or going like, right, I'm going to hold on, I'm going to get 15, I'm going to really screw the opponents over.
I think I saw PlayStation Access saying that the balance is to have somebody that's going for 5s and somebody that's going for 15s.
Yeah, that'll probably be a good idea.
And then that's kind of a good way to do it, rather than everybody just trying to either save everything together or bank everything at the same time.
Yes, because I will, like last night when I was playing it, I was just playing with randoms. I wasn't actually talking to anybody, but yeah, I would like drop off 5, and then someone will come next to me and drop off 10, and I'm not sure how it works, if they then get 2 blockers sent to their world, or
I think
if it's
they
just
do.
one.
Yeah, I think they do.
Okay. That's not too bad then.
So you coordinate and just go, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
And from a Souls point of view, they were asked sort of as to whether them being red was a tip of the hat towards Dark Souls, and Bungie just said we're huge Dark Souls fans, so it's 100%.
It's a
tip
very
of the hat towards Dark Souls.
specific red they're using as well. It's they've not even like there's no reason for them to pretend, because it's not like they're actually ripping off any mechanics or anything, but. Yeah, you can see it's definitely a homage to the Soul series for sure.
It's just nice for them to be that upfront about it, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, so why not? It's not like like the games that come out and like the Surge and stuff like that, where it's a bit like, oh, this just feels a bit cheap and nasty, and I don't know if you're doing this out of love or out of just like kind of cynical, let's get some sales sort of way. But those games always felt like they lacked a little bit of heart to me, but this actually feels a little bit like it's done purely with the best intentions.
So I mean, again, this is celebrating the joy of what got us together in the first place, and the way that we talked, and the way that we played, and we chatted life and all that kind of stuff. It was just it was incredibly communal, and it's very strange to look back at, even when you guys started in with Destiny 2. you appeared to be done with it very, very quickly. I felt as though Paddy and I were going to play it at some point, but that was going to be together. I traded my PS4, bought a Destiny 2 PS4 Pro bundle, and just sat on the game. And at this point, I don't think Pad was at all interested.
I would say a week before the ridiculous thing happened that Sony did with Plus, I would say even a week before, we were having a conversation. I was like, nah, I'll never go back to it. I don't think I'll ever go back. I don't see the point. I've got other things to play. I'll never play that game again. Maybe 7 days before the bad thing
Who was trying to corral the troops at this point?
It was,
hey?
Yeah. It was you, CJ.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think I jumped back in. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I jumped back into it about. I mean, like you say, last year I played it. I brought it in September. I think I stopped playing it by October easily. And it sat there just in my cupboard. And I remember multiple times where I was like, "Oh, I'm going to trade Destiny 2 in," but I couldn't find the game disc, so I could never do it. So it was almost like fate was on my side. And then I eventually found the game disc, probably in like a couple of months ago. I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it another go, because at the end of the day, like the actual core gameplay, the shooting mechanics of Destiny are pretty unparalleled. Like nothing feels as good. Like Bungie know how to make shooting things feel fun. So I was like, you know what, I need that. I need a little buzz. So I kind of jumped back onto it for a bit, and I was really enjoying it until I hit the grind. And I don't think the grind's fun by yourself. So I think I was when I started talking to you. Sorry, you were trying to get us back into it, CJ. I'd kind of resigned myself to like, I'm done. I'm not going to play it. I even remember saying to Gav Russell, I'm not going to buy the update. I don't see the point. It's not going to be fun stuff. And then you jumped back on. We had that game last week with myself, CJ, Pete, and myself, and it was just such great fun. I was like, I knew I was going to have to buy it.
The nice thing about that was we ran around on Nessus, and we were doing lost sectors and just shooting things, but it kind of wasn't the point. We just talked in a way that we hadn't talked in a while. I don't just mean like actually being on mic and sort of having a natter, but you know, we were talking about like Alien, and we were talking about like lore stuff, and it was just a proper conversation, and it reminded me of why I think the world of you guys in the first place, because we could catch up with this sort of stuff any time, and Destiny was a phenomenal sort of conduit for us all, bringing us all together and talking, and not on sort of a, you know, on Twitter DM, but actually within the groups that we got on at any given time. We could normally get a few people together and just, you know, how have you been?
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Yeah, so similar to what Gav was saying, like I said, I was still playing Destiny 1 when Destiny 2 was coming out. I was already committed. I bought like the super duper fancy version at launch. Played through the story content pretty rapidly. And then similar to Gav, once I got to the sort of end game grind, there was just none of our group really to play with. So I just kind of fell off it. And then to touch on what CJ saying about like sort of keeping the group, like it was everyone else, we all kind of like went like onto different games. Obviously yourself and Paddy went onto Warframe, which I gave a quick go of, but probably need to like put more time in to get the most out of it. Then there's also like the brief dalliance with like Monster Hunter World as well, which again sort of had this, you know, similar thing of let's come together and hunt some monsters. But again, even then, not everyone committed, so it's like occasionally you'd be on or Paddy would be on. And then I never went back to Destiny 2. Like even though I had the fantasy version and I had access to the DLC, I never went back to it. And like we just sort of mentioned, CJ side sort of talking to us all, so I was like, oh, you know, Forsaken looks kind of interesting. Is anyone getting it? And I was kind of like, oh, I'll probably get it, but I still haven't gone back to it, and I really should at some point. And similarly, like before the game dropped onto Plus for everyone, it still didn't feel like anyone was particularly committed to it.
I mean, I tried a few times to get into it. I just felt like I got unfinished business with it, and possibly based on the memories of how we'd all enjoyed things together. But I tried on my own to get into it, but the story stuff wasn't grabbing me. The levels just didn't seem great. and I just end up sort of, almost dramatically just going like, right, get out of my console, get out of it, get out of my console,
and pressing the
actually
eject disc button.
Yeah, just
furiously.
Like delete. Not even like an eject the disc. It was like uninstalling, because I was just kind of quite angry with what it had become. I mean, just before that, you got Destiny had been consistently in the news for the wrong reasons. The game was data mined for XP nerfing, and then the apology saw something else stealth nerfed instead. The Bungie forums were demanding the removal of the Eververse. Literally, like every post was like, remove the Eververse. The lore was criticised for being all over the place, doubling back in on itself, and being treated with absolute disdain by the company. I remember like all the stuff that was in the first game, it's just like fables, really. We don't know what the darkness is. And then the comic book was kind of contradicting the Destiny 2, and Bungie just was silent. So yeah, I kept coming back and occasionally having like little stabs at it. And a few weeks ago, I had another pop at it and just thought things felt a bit smoother, a bit more refined, and kind of a lot more fun. So that's when I put it to you guys that it'd be kind of I would commit to Forsaken if everybody else was coming back. But that was met with disdain. So folks are either just not interested or absolutely done with it. So what absolutely definitely happened from there was me calling up both Bungie and Sony. This is not on Skype, this is on my mobile telephone, and arranging for the game to be on September's PlayStation Plus. So you're welcome, video games.
No, fantasy, I didn't realise that was you.
Yeah, that was all me. But yeah, I mean, throughout all of that, all of a sudden it was just like, Gav was up for it, Pete was up for it, Ellie was ready to come back, and Mr. Patrick Stardust was up for trying it.
I know. I couldn't really say no to it anymore, because it's like, it's fucking free now, isn't it? Well, yeah, all right then, go on then. Like, I mean, I always like to give Plus games a fair shake anyway. But the way they announced it, like, oh yeah, Destiny. I think I was reading my phone. I was walking home from work when I read it.
I texted you.
I definitely went, what? In the middle of town.
Yeah, that's a big balls move by Sony there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
then you read the
how
article.
much I've had to pay for that.
But then you read the article a bit more. It's like, you can do it now. What do you mean you can do it now? I can go home and press the button now. What? What are they doing, the psychopaths? Like, I mean, before Forsaken comes out, and I was thinking, oh, that's a really bad idea, because they're going to give away their game for free but make more people buy Forsaken. Oh my god, that's a genius move.
Yeah. It's possibly because Forsaken costs the amount of a new game anyway. So maybe it was a bit like, oh, no one's going to pay for the big full version, so maybe if we give the free version, like the main version away for free, more people might buy this stupidly expensive DLC.
It's like drugs. They've done a drugs on us. They've given us a nice, dirty 30-hour taster and then told us, right, now go buy my drugs.
They gave a free weekend of Gambit as well, didn't they, just before the Forsaken DLC dropped. It was like, oh, yeah, you get yourself a little taste of this, mate. It's the new one that's in town, yeah.
It was funny. I looked on Twitter after that announcement, and there was one bloke that was just going like, Bungie, can't believe you're giving Destiny 2 away on PlayStation Plus. I think you should give me Forsaken for free because I bought your game last year.
Oh, God, I hate those fucking people.
They are the worst people.
Really?
You bought the game, you had your time with it, don't be a twat about it now.
I wasn't sitting there crying about it. Like, it's like, cool, yeah, more people get to play it. Wicked. Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, I think it maybe shows how proud they are of Forsaken. Certainly the early impressions suggest that it's kind of got them crazy back on track. But I did think that they kind of screwed themselves a little bit by not offering something similar to Xbox fans, because there's a lot of disdain for the game on all formats, and I just thought, whilst it is, you've got the exclusive stuff on PlayStation, I just think that they would be doing themselves a favour for further sales if the same was offered to Xbox fans. But maybe that's in the future for them. I don't know.
Maybe it's a contractual thing as well. Maybe Sony said, hey, we'll do this for free, but you cannot do a single thing for Xbox people.
Bit sad when it comes to stuff like that.
Well,
Really.
the thing is, like, I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but like when Destiny 1 was out, like everyone was playing it on PS4. Like that's where it was huge.
Yeah.
That's where it was enormous, and I think probably Bungie have thought we want that back. Like,
yeah, I mean, I associate
that was good.
Destiny
it was
with
everyone.
PlayStation. You know, like in the same way that I'd associate Call of Duty with Xbox when, you know, the 360 was in its prime. The franchise is associated with Sony. Obviously, that's down to advertisement, you know, because it's always like exclusive on PlayStation stuff. So
there's also, I mean, that exclusive stuff is always a little bit sinister as far as I'm concerned. When I think it was just towards the end of Destiny's run where, like, Xbox folks got a few of the levels and weapons that Destiny had in its first year. That's a bit shy.
Yeah, I saw. I didn't realise all this how long the exclusivity for was, but for the Strike for Forsaken, that won't be available on PC or Xbox until this time next year. And I was just like, the amount of people that will buy this and drop off. They'll drop off by Christmas probably, and they won't even think about going back to play that when it launches. It is a very strange choice, but you know, I guess it's a business decision rather than anything, isn't it?
So I guess there's that feeling that with the game getting sort of smoother and more compulsive within the last few weeks, they then sort of change things again. Not bad change, but refined further. Suddenly we have like bounties and extra stuff to do, and new missions, and I presume this is a bit
excited. I was so excited about that because, like, I've been having a good time with it. I'm playing through the story slowly, you know, wandering about. I just got to IO, I think, and I've been like, I'm enjoying it. I'm walking around. I'm doing public events as they turn up, but like that was kind of it. Like I was kind of enjoying the public events, doing the story missions, doing the adventures. I think they're called, aren't they? Those little mini missions. But I kind of felt like something was missing, and then sort of turned it on a couple of days before Forsaken dropped. I was like, I'm sorry, there's bounties now and patrol missions, and I wasn't sure if that's just a thing I'd unlocked because I got to a certain point in the story. Like I unlocked strikes the other day, and it's like, oh cool, because I got to that point in the story. Like, was that a thing? Were there not patrols and bounties before 2 weeks ago?
Patrols, yes. Bounties, they're not as quite. Sorry, they weren't as in depth. I might be misremembering it, and I'm hoping someone can correct me. But I think it was only Zavala that had bounties.
Jesus.
And you could obviously then. I think there was. I don't really play a huge amount of Crucible, but I think Shaxx had stuff for Crucible, but that was pretty much it. And now literally every vendor has their own bounties.
I'm so happy.
Absolutely mental.
I'm so happy about that because I can go to the planet I like and I can just sit there, and every day when I turn it on, first thing I do is I go to IO and I go see Asher Mir, the best comedy grandpa ever. And I pick up his 3 things and I go and do them, and I get my phase glass and I pop an engram and I get an engram, and soon I'll have that delicious hunter armor. Soon.
On Sunday after kind of a few too many early starts, I was knackered, but I could sort of settle down and just go, right, I'll go to the EDZ and kind of do the bounties there, then I'll go to Titan, I'll do the bounties there, and it was just a nice time to kind of sit back and just relax into it and just feel like I was getting a little bit further.
Yeah, it's nice to kind of, as much as it's almost overwhelming the amount of stuff you can now do, it is nice to have things to do. Because I definitely got to that point in the base game before any of the DLC launched that I was just patrolling, and there's no real fun in that unless you're just online with a couple of friends chatting. Like the patrols are a bit boring. I only realised a couple of weeks ago that the adventures existed. I didn't know they were a thing, and that kind of blew me away a little bit. But it was, like I said, the base game was fairly minimal in content. That it's really nice to see that they're kind of thrown everything at it now.
Well, I presume this is a bit of a teaser for the annual pass, because a lot of the stuff that they're saying for the pass that's going to kind of keep people playing and is going to have new avenues to earn stuff. It sounds a little bit like they're looking into the world that's already there and gone like, oh, this has happened, and you know the Taken have invaded one of the rigs, and you need to get down there. And if they can find inventive ways to make you play through the levels and kind of second guess muscle memory and just sort of keep having fun, then the annual pass is going to be worthwhile, because you know the things that they've done within the bounties and the new adventures have been cracking fun. I've really enjoyed them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the roadmap for the post-launch Forsaken now. I don't know if you guys have seen this graphic, but basically down one side you've got the free seasonal updates, and on the opposite side of the graph you've got what's going to be in the annual pass. It doesn't strike me as being anything that's like enormous, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the first one is something called the Black Armory, which gives you new Forges of Chain activity, a new raid layer, some new exotics, new legendaries, blah 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 blah.
Got a new gunsmith as well, haven't they?
Yes.
For the Black Armory.
Well, yeah, because it's you get access to the Black Armory, which I've got to say, the armor, if this is the armor set that you can get from that, it looks lovely. It's like kind of an insectoid ninja. That's probably why I'd describe
Sold.
it. Yes.
They're in.
Actually, CJ, it does look a lot
Cayman
like
Rider.
yes, Cayman Rider, but decked out in black.
Ka-ching!
Then the next one after that is another version of Gambit, so that will probably be quite cool. And then you've got something called Penumbra, which is a new activity experience. So actually, you know what? Reading that one properly, they are actually, with the annual pass, they're adding quite a bit. Whether it will kind of end up being good stuff or like kind of, I don't know if you guys have played through the Warmind DLC yet, but that wasn't great.
No, I had the previous
not there
stuff
yet. No,
wasn't really
I'm just about to start it. I just finished Curse of Osiris the other day.
Yeah, I mean, it's short, so I'm not like, there's nothing. It was fine. Like, I played through it. I was like, yeah, that was all right. You know, it kept me playing, but I wasn't blown away by anything that was in it. Kind of the boss for it is pretty cool, but I won't say too much because I don't want to spoil it for you or sour it all a bit too much.
While we're talking about campaign stuff, I do have a question. It's more of a mechanical thing, and it might be a bit of diversion. Can you ever like replay story missions? Because I'm really enjoying the story so far, but it doesn't seem like there's a way of replaying anything.
Ikora used to let you do certain ones per week. Like, that was kind of her bounty sort of thing. You could replay a story mission.
Yeah, you can. You
like
can play them on
story type.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing.
Yeah, you can play them heroic difficulty later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say that's been added now, hasn't it? Was that in the Forsaken or add-on, or was I can't remember? Sorry,
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying the thing. I'm like really enjoying the plot so far. Like, it's unveiling nicely. The characters are all quite well realised. Like, there's actual characters in the game. It's not just you're hearing things over a radio and going to talk to people standing there doing nothing. Like, they all seem to have a bit of personality. Like, even the bounty guys. Like, you've got Devrim K and the EDZ, who's this
Devrim K is great. I love
very English tea drinking sniper who is
audible sigh.
I would have said was my favourite.
Oh, because he drinks tea. Is that
Shut up, coffee boy.
I've got more issues with Devon. We'll come to that in a minute.
But you've got like the computer lady on Nessus that's just like obviously played completely for goofs, but does make me laugh. And then Ashamir on IO, who is just the most crotchety old grandpa fuck I've ever known. He's brilliant. He's like a comedy science grandpa.
I'm going to join CJ with a sigh on that one.
I'm going to sigh on that one.
I was holding back on that one.
Yeah.
You don't like Ashamir?
No, he's irritating.
He's wonderful. He's awful. You get me some specimens, you fool.
It's the voice of a tiny anime grandpa in any anime that there's a tiny anime grandpa in it.
Yeah, but, I can't remember what the strike is called, but there is a strike that involves him on IO, and it seems to be one of the more popular ones in the playlist. And the amount of times I've had to hear his dialogue over and over and over again, I can't stand him.
Oh, I love him. I love him to pieces, and he sells the best looking armour I've seen so far by a very long stretch.
So to kind of to break it down, sort of the level by level, then really, what did we think of the opening to Destiny 2? The destruction of the tower, and
that was the cinematic level that I've not seen from Bungie since like Halo Reach.
That giant bloke with his face in kind of a can of Pringles.
But yeah, for me it was that's what was missing from Destiny 1 for me, that level of spectacle. That, like I say, Bungie back in the Halo series, they used to do it like effortlessly. Like Reach was basically levels of that just constantly building on top of each other, and that's why generally I think Reach is one of the best games I've ever played. It's certainly the best Bungie game. But that kind of it reminded me so much of that, because like the music was swelling. You had people making
heroic. There's a lot about this soundtrack which echoes Halo Reach a lot.
Yeah, I can hear that. Yeah, for me, like just the people making their last ditch heroic saves. You had Ikora diving out to take out a ship. You had like Cade going off on one as he does, and you had Zavala kind of holding the fort down. It was just like, this is the sort of thing I've been missing. I thought it was a really good opening level.
I think I played it because this is the demo, isn't it? Like, this is the beta
yes.
/ and I remember playing this demo and like I didn't like it in the demo. I was like, I think it's because it gives you, here's a machine gun, here's a scout rifle, and here's a rocket launcher, which were the three kinds of weapons that I don't really like. Like, I'm hand cannons, I'm sniper rifles. I used to like my heavy machine gun, which put it back in, you fucking cowards. Give me my heavy machine gun back. I mean, the grenade launcher's good. I like the grenade launcher a lot, but give me back my heavy machine gun, you fucking cowards.
Paddy, December 2018, free for everybody. Heavy machine guns return. There you go, mate. That's a little Christmas present to you from Bungie.
I was going to say, I thought this was leading up to like another Paddy classic where he's like, I'm not buying that annual pass, and then it's like Sparrow racing a machine gun.
Throw my wallet.
It's just like, yo, got me back in again. You're
a special pack of shaders,
man.
And the shaders are just orange. Please take all of the money. I will throw pound coins into my PS4 until it comes out. Yeah, I found that I didn't like it when I played it originally, but maybe it's down to the guns that were given to you. Like, I don't. Do you even choose a class in the demo, or do you just jump straight in?
They were different in the demo. Like the guns just seemed a little bit wilder in the demo. They were difficult to kind of fire with a little bit of stability, and because I'd obviously seen the live stream, so I knew what was coming in, but I was super unimpressed when I played the demo, but I really enjoyed it when I played it back with a new character sort of recently. I guess I was just taking it on its merits rather than sort of, come on then, impress me. And I'd already seen what was to come, so...
I think the fact it gave me a hand cannon was probably what got me over the edge this time, because that was my gun. Like, I love the hand cannons so much. Like, they're exactly the way I'd want to play, because the hunter seems to me like a space cowboy. It's like, of course you want a fucking revolver if you're a space cowboy. And I found it, and as soon as that initial... we talked about this quite a bit, didn't we? That head pop. Boom!
Oh, it's
like
beautiful.
It's satisfying.
The only thing that may rival it is the fire guys in the Division. And when you kind of shoot their backpacks and it goes like... and you get that little gasp out, and then like...
and then we both go, "Hooray!" every single time.
Pete, what did you bring?
I really liked the opening level. So, like you said, it's the first time we'd really seen the Vanguard fighting. Even though it's a bit scripted. Yeah, exactly. They're not just standing around telling you to go here and do this. They're actually going out and doing shit. And obviously, it was good. It gave a sense of gravitas after, like, you'd been a shit kicking Guardian for all of Destiny 1, pretty much like demolishing everything out of your way. It was nice to sort of knock you down. I mean, jumping ahead though, I was kind of a bit disappointed. Like, I wanted to be powerless for a bit longer, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
I thought it was going to do the classic video game thing of gradually, here we strip away your powers. Now you're going to have to gradually ramp your way up. Which it kind of did, but it's more the fact that, like, once you get to a certain story beat, it's just like, okay, here you go, here's most of your powers back. Yes, you have to get the subclasses back and things.
I mean, to sort of tap into something that Gav was saying with a Halo comparison, one of my favourite aspects of Halo ODST was suddenly it was like, you're a bloke, instead of being this kind of sort of 7-foot jet fighter wearing sort of super tanker. You're a bloke. And I quite like that. Yeah, it just felt much more vulnerable. And yeah, I agree. It would have been nice to see them play with that a little bit more than they did. And also, when they did show you wounded, it was a bit of a pain in the arse when you were kind of it super slowed you down.
Was that just after? That was the second mission, wasn't it? Yeah.
But I think, like, just after this bit, I think, CJ, in a rare moment, I think you've sold something massively short. The bit where you are, like, knackered and, like, powerless and just sort of struggling through the mountains following that bird, you made that sound like that was wank. You made that sound like that was the worst thing in the world. And I'm playing it, and I'm just sitting there, like, jaw on the floor, loving that section. I sat there and let that music play for a bit. I was loving it. I was struggling through shooting those fucking Cabal dogs. I'm like, is this the bit he was slagging off? Because I have no idea what he was on.
Oh no! It was just like, I've been punted off the side of a ship and I've been really knackered. And where are we going to go? ZOMFG and Eagle. It seems to be leading me on. Please.
I enjoyed that
please.
bit.
The
I
Eagle
really
is back.
liked it.
Thank God. Where do I go now?
What was the law
Shoot
behind
these
that
people.
Eagle? Who was he supposed to be?
It's
What?
really well trained. You just send them off and do stuff, and they come back. It's known. It's a real thing. And this is like space future. So think about how well trained he is in space future.
I audibly like.
It's probably a bloke
sighed
in
on
there.
this.
He's probably a bloke inside. He's probably got robot bits in it.
I just thought that was.
You
was
are
kind-
a
I was-
belly.
I was-
How
I was-
could you
I
not
was-
enjoy that music swelling up as well? The atmosphere was amazing. Like, yep, this is fine. I'm enjoying this.
I think it's another one where I was kinder to it the second time that I played it, but the first time I was just like, oh dear Lord, seriously. Oh, look, the Eagles.
I don't get you.
Eagles,
I don't get you.
I think it was more just the movement that bothered me. Just so slow.
I
But
quite liked it.
I quite like a knackered animation every now and again, though.
I did like sort of feeling underpowered in the way of moving through the mountains and just thinking like, well, you know, obviously it was like, hey, you've lost all your powers, but I tell you what, I'll get you back on track. Some dog punching.
Yeah, I did like I think going back to the ODST idea that the idea that you were completely vulnerable. That did feel great because I was like, if I come up against any Cabal now, I am dead.
Super.
I'm just like, well, I'm not a person because my character's awoken, so whatever awoken are, I can't remember the lore behind those guys, but yeah, it did very much.
Space vampires.
Space vampires, yes. Actually, emo space vampires.
Yeah.
'Cause all of them have got that emo haircut that I used to have 5 years ago.
My character's like an exo, so surely just like plug in another battery, back we go. Like,
Pretty much.
how could a robot die?
Well, mate.
Oh dear.
Again, no spoilers, but I don't know if you know the story to Forsaken, but you'll find out.
Oh God.
Pete, what did you think to the journey to the farm?
So, I wasn't a big fan of the Eagle personally.
Boo!
More divisions to come.
I think we could have worked out it's a fairly linear game. I think we could have worked out the path where the Eagle going, ooh, let's go over here. Yeah, like I said, I thought they were going to drip feed it a bit slow. I thought it was going to be like, do a mission, oh, here's your grenade power back. Do a mission, here's your melee power back. Do a mission, here's a little bit of your super power back. And then, maybe a bit more, then a bit more. But then, yeah, and then also as well, similarly, like, in like all the live streaming, the preview events, like the farm was made a really big deal. It's like, this is your new base of operations. This is the farm. You're going to be spending a lot of time here. Not really.
What do we think of the farm? Because I'm honestly not impressed at all.
I really liked it.
I like
mean,
it.
To start off with, anyway, it was a fun little kind of hey, this is different. We're not in a big kind of brutalist structure of the tower, and there's no concrete anywhere. There's no real electricity. It all felt like it was all being held together with tape and cardboard. But after a few times of having to climb those stairs to get to Cade, it was a little bit irritating.
Also, if we're talking irritating, the music just seems to be the theme to Emmerdale, played in a different order.
I've never noticed that. I think I'm going to head to the farm right now. And hear
I don't like the football pitch. I think that's too much. I think
I
they've
love the
seen.
football pitch.
No, here's the thing, because everyone likes playing with ball, right? In the tower, right? Ball's fun. Everyone loves ball. Let's ball, everyone. Let's go
loves
play with ball, right?
Ball, yes.
Yeah, like everyone likes playing with ball, and they're like, look, if you like ball, you'll like ball too. Now with a point. No, I don't want a point. I just want a ball. Let me make my own fun. Don't give me fun to do, and don't despawn the ball when it goes outside the area. No, let me play with ball.
I liked ball.
I like ball.
Ball two,
I don't
sorry,
like
I
ball
liked ball
goal.
two.
I don't like ball goal.
I think that was one of the most disappointing thing about not having you guys on there to play Destiny 2 is that we've still never played football in the farm.
There is kind of a thing, sort of when you're looking at the lore, you can almost imagine them. Well, I've nearly got my my spaceship garage back together, and hey, what's happened to that bar over there? Oh, we've set up a football net, just in the corner. And what about? Yeah, that's the other net. And
and when you score a goal, it shoots fireworks.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, we've got bigger problems, lads.
I do.
You don't want to see the dartboard around the other side. Just whip out golden gun. And, oh, dartboard's gone. Fucked it.
did make me laugh, sort of putting a second half to a Lord Shack sentence where it's like, you and I stood together as the tower burned. Now let's run around in circles and shoot the fuck out of one another.
So I have a quick question then, regarding like as you move on, right? So you go to find the bit of the traveller that fell off, so you can get your shit back, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I play as Hunter. We probably haven't covered this yet, but we'll get here soon. So I always play Hunter because it's the one I like. 'Cause it's got the capes, and the power it gave me was like a slightly different version of the one I had before. So the Hunter's power you get first is the new one, which is Arc Strider, which is like the Blade Dancer from before, the Arc one, where you can stab a lot of people, but this time it's a stick. Functionally, it's very similar. Like, it's also run around in melee, stab a guy. You can do a bit of dodging this time, but generally it's about the same. What classes did you play, and what power did you get first? I'm going to go to Pete.
So this is my commitment to the group. So in Destiny 1, I was a Warlock, and I love Warlocks. And and overcoats, yeah. But so the joke was in our group is that we had, was it 4 Warlocks and 2 Hunters?
No, it was 3 and 3.
It was 3 and 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
But we had no Titans.
Wait, it was other. Wait, are you man Gav or woman Gav?
I am man Gav.
Man Gav.
I am man Gav. Yes.
Right.
And I was a Warlock. Woman Gav was a Hunter. Ellie was a Hunter.
I was
obviously,
a Hunter.
You're a Hunter. And obviously Pete and CJ were also Warlocks.
You're a wizard.
Right. But we all universally agreed that Titans sucked. However, there were certain points, especially in King's Fall, for example, where having a Titan would have been useful.
Yes.
So, like, I decided in my self-sacrificial way that I would roll a Titan this time around.
What a nice guy.
Yeah, and then we never played together, and it was all sad.
We're all got a blast.
I know.
And don't be sad, Pete. Look, an
back.
eagle pulling you onwards. What happened to that eagle now? Oh, we turned it inside out and used it as a football.
You be nice to Jeffrey.
Just got onto the Wikipedia, by the way, to see if there's any lore behind the eagle, and he doesn't even have his own entry. There is nothing. There is nothing.
He erased it himself. He doesn't want the secret getting out.
Just a gif of a poop.
The eagle does appear
being thrown by a monkey.
It's an NPC's pet, isn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, Hawthorne.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah.
She sends it out to go get people.
It appears. It appears later, but not in the story function. It just sits on a perch.
That's what birds do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you picked out. So you started with a Shaitan.
A Shaitan, yes. Who? I mean, seriously, they just have the worst armor. They seriously do. It's just like, at best, I look like an off-brand Power Ranger. At worst, I look like a Poundland Space Marine. It's just
just giant shoulders.
Can we say as well on this front? I mean, I'm only looking at it from a Warlock point of view. Obviously, like seeing the tat that Paddy will put on himself at any given point, anyway. But the early armors and fashions in this game are terrible.
Yeah,
absolutely terrible, and like shaders do fuck all to them.
Well, why would you want to keep progressing if they gave you glorious wonderment? Because in Destiny 1 they were a bit shit for the first.
But you have to wait
levels.
until about level 20 before anything decent turns on.
It's very true. I only got some decent armor in like the last. I mean, obviously, it's been a while since I played it, but. Yeah, very much end game, like max level, nearly max light, and it's just like, oh, here's some nice armor. Oh, thank you.
So Pete, you Poundland Space Marine. What power does it give you first? Is it a new one? Like, are you familiar with the Titan power from the old ones?
So it's very similar to the Hunter. It's the Void Shield. So it's like Captain America's shield that you can chuck around. But it's also
that makes me want to play a Titan.
But it's the advanced bubble. It's the same as the bubble. So like his power is like if he wants to stand still, he will create that protective bubble that was in Destiny 1. But now to give it a few more offensive capabilities, he has that shield he can run around with. And I think like in like spoilers for Forsaken, it's like it changes so like he can move around the shield up like a moving barrier. So it's not just like a stationary bubble. He can walk around with the barrier up. But yeah, that's the so it's very similar to like the Hunter. It's like it's similar to one of the Destiny 1 powers, but it is changed slightly. And similarly, like the later powers, like the Solar one's the Hammer Bro one, which is the same as D1, and the Arc one's I'm trying to remember. I think it's like the Titan Smash one.
Yeah, the other two Hunter ones. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the other two Hunter ones are the same as well. You've got Golden Gun and the Void Bow, which are the two from the last game. Again, I've not touched Golden Gun because fuck that. But yeah, it's nice to have Void Bow. What about Warlocks? What do you get first?
I believe it's the new class of Dawnblade. Sorry.
Yes.
Where you erupt into flame and have a flaming sword and shoot flame and fly with flame and flame.
Yeah, so it's the same again. You can't self-res anymore, which was always the thing of the solar power. God. But yeah, no one has that power anymore. But yeah, you then...
That got us through everything.
I know.
I was gonna say. The amount of wipes that were avoided by someone...
By Pete going, don't worry, I'm up!
I always liked, with the solar stuff on the Warlock in the first one, I knew that if there was ever like a really sort of crazy mission, that little slap I could do if I was running low on health, and it would give me a period of invulnerability. That was a beaut.
I don't think I ever really messed around with the solar powers too much for a Warlock in that one. As soon as I found out that I could just pretend to be Emperor Palpatine, I did not move away from that.
It's still a beaut.
It is a beaut.
Fart lightning.
Although the new Warlock power is incredible. It's I won't say too much because I don't want to spoil it for you guys that haven't got as far as me, but it is lovely, and it definitely rivals rolling around like Sith Lord.
Oh, so like going back on fashion then, like me and CJ were discussing this the other night, that the fashions seem a little bit more different this time. So Titans are still like, here's a load of armor, I'm going to wear the biggest stuff I can find, and I'm going to be like you say, like a cheap toy.
It's all made of plastic, yeah.
Armor. Exactly, yeah. Warlocks seem to be, here's my bejeweled coat. I've taken a long time making this coat nice. Look at my lovely coat. And Hunters are, here's some shit I found in a bin.
Thankfully, you are dressing like some sort of pensioner prostitute anyway. Like I really had to kind of coerce him into sort of putting some shaders and putting some colours on. And then the other day he was like, look at my legs, and he was trying to show off the fact that he got the colour orange in his legs, but he actually looked like an old man that was wearing fishnets and had forcibly pushed orange peel down the front of them like some sort of mental.
It was like, like Shocker from Spider-Man.
The Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah,
it looks like he's wearing a quilt.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that, just on the knees.
And I was looking absolutely beautiful in my kind of poison shimmer long robes and my metallic pink sort of gorgeous helm, and I was just looking the business.
Who the kind of character, you look like the kind of person who wouldn't go out to play football in case they got their trousers dirty. Whereas I'm like, go on, rub some mud in it.
Yeah, but you're crap at football, and I'm actually really good.
Oh, hey, well, look, be nice. My cape has a zip on the side. Doesn't attach to anything. I don't know what it was from before, but there's a zip down the side of it.
From whatever you found in the bin, isn't it? It's probably a coat that you ripped up and tied around your waist.
Yeah. Well, the thing with fashion, right? I'm glad we're here then, because this is something, right? Why are shaders so shit? Because they're not very good in this. I don't think I've found anything amazing yet.
I've made my peace for shaders. I've got like a handful that I really like.
Yeah, I think I purposely side with Dead Orbit every time the faction rallies come along because they have the monochrome shader, and as you can all remember from Destiny 1, I tried to be as black metal as possible with my Warlock. And just like to wear long black coats, and if I can, some kind of dead animal on my face, or the skull of some kind of dead animal.
You're only
on my
human.
Face.
If only it was that eagle.
So if we're being generous,
you could lead us on.
If we're being generous, the idea that you can colour each individual bit of armour different colour to like that level of customization is quite cool. If we're being cynical, the fact that everything is consumable, and you can just run out. So like if you were saying like you really like the Dead Orbit ones, but you can technically run out at some point. And if you're like I say, if we're being cynical, that this isn't a way to push you onto like Eververse to buy more shaders with real money, it's just a bit.
To be honest,
Shaders
though,
drop quite often.
But like the one I like,
yes,
I've
but the
only
one
ever
you
had one
exactly,
drop-off.
yeah, exactly, yeah, yes, they drop quite often, and to the point where like now everyone moans that they don't have enough space for them all. But these are ones you actually want.
No,
but I've found that the only things that matter moving forward are the helm and the coat. Like the trousers you very rarely see, and sometimes I'll go, I quite like those boots better than the other boots that I had, but oh look, I've got some more boots and I'm not sure about them.
But for your warlocks, you don't see a lot of
yeah,
your outfit. Like
you
you're
don't.
That's
like,
it.
Hunters
That's
are
it.
different.
The gloves
We've got
and the boots, you don't sort of tend to see them. But like with, and even if say I get some grey gloves that replacing white gloves, or it doesn't really matter at this point, 'cause especially as I'm still leveling. But the fact that the helm looks fantastic and the coat looks fantastic, the other stuff's kind of interchangeable with that, and I feel quite locked into the look of the helm and the coat as well now. I feel like I'm happy with it, but I did prefer the shaders from the first one, because it just seemed like more of a random roll with the colours that you got.
But I find that with the shade as well, I find that I don't want to spend them, particularly the ones I like, because infusing is so. I haven't infused a single item yet. Like I haven't had the resources to do it yet, and it seems really like resource expensive to do. So
They're
whenever I
masterwork
find,
cores, you can't go wrong.
oh my god,
What?
I'm just
I've
trying
had
to-
that in my head all day.
that hurt.
The thing is,
But,
it's
I
like
find
we
that
can't
I'm
do
not
the dumb.
infusing.
Sorry, Paddy. I was just saying we can't do the
Go for
dumb
it,
shit we used
yeah.
to do in D1, whereas like we would do stuff.
we'd do a
We did the raid bow, whereas like we can just
Raid
freely.
bow, yes.
Yeah, we can freely change colours. It's like or like the times when we'd do me, you, and Ellie would do a strike, but we'd pick the most disgusting colour possible.
Yeah.
We can't do that now.
Yes,
You can't
I mean,
freely
you remember
change it.
The Sparrow Racing shaders were all just disgustingly fluorescent.
Oh, I loved them.
And-
I had all of them. They were the ones
the-
I kept on me at all times.
But again, like the Sparrow Racing, like costumes were really different as well. Like that's one of those where I ended up infusing those to quite a high level, just simply because they made me look like a Cayman Rider.
I managed to make
again,
my guy look
goes back
like
to that.
Captain Falcon.
Yeah, I remember you being a Captain Falcon cosplayer.
Massively a fan of that, and like the fact you could just put on dumb shaders on everything, and it was like, and like they looked like the like you say the Sparrow Racing ones, like those neon orange ones, the neon blue ones that made you look like a bit like a Tron. Like, yes, more of
Yeah,
that.
they were
And now it's
disgusting.
like, oh cool, I've got like imagine in Destiny 2, here's 3 Tron shaders. Cool, I'm gonna make my chest and my head and my legs and wait, my arms aren't. Hang on, what now? What? You're never seeing that shader again. Like the one I love, I found one called like Viridian Copper, I think it is, and it's like a disgusting like metallic green and orange, and like it's exactly my shit. Like it's exactly the sort of thing I like, because it's horrible, but it's like disgustingly nice. I don't want to use that. I've got one left. It's like the one piece of armor I put it on, I immediately found something much better. I was like, well, fucked it now, haven't I? I can't. I've wasted it. Like I kind of just feel like it you mean, CJ, I know you say like put shaders and everything, but I find the game's actively telling me no, don't though, because we're going to give you some better stuff in 10 minutes.
Yeah, but it doesn't really bother me if I'm kind of looking at the arms. It's like, oh, I've got 30 of that shader, and it looks kind of a bit.
How have you got 30 of anything? I've got like 8 is the most I've got, and they're the rubbish ones.
This comes back around to another thing that I'm going to say. It's not really just Destiny. It's just this is my little heartfelt sort of poem to my good podcasting friend here. It's always lovely when you're going through a game and it just feels like one of you is being more lucky than the other with the drops.
I fucking hate you.
It's
I
it's always
fucking hate
lovely.
you.
It's always lovely when that other person is so giving and so glad that you've gotten a really good weapon, or you've got like a really lovely coat, and absolutely definitely doesn't shoot your shoes in some sort of mild rage every time it happened. Thanks, Paddy.
I
You're
think
the best.
in the last 2 weeks we've had about 4 separate occasions in different games
In different games, yeah.
where you've been getting, oh, I've got a turtleneck. Like, fuck you. and then just unload every gun I have at him.
This comes back to one of this other like mystery game where I actually went through that with someone else, and every coat they were getting was cream, and they basically went, "Don't try and dress it up. It's beige." But yeah, I do seem to be quite lucky with the fashionable drops. But whenever Paddy gets anything, he ends up just looking like some sort of rat-ass tramp anyway.
But yeah, I'm running around with you, and you're like, "Oh, cool, let's get that chest or that box." And what did you get? Oh, I've got a gun, and I've got a shader, and I've got a coat. What did you get? I got 2 alkane dust.
Yeah. And what did you get? I got 4.
Yeah, he got more than me, as well as the stuff.
Yeah, even when it comes to like the lower level shit, you were still sort of getting less than me, and it became like I just hear silence, and then and I just feel my pad like rumble, knowing that a little bastard was shooting my shoes. What weapons are you favouring this time? What did you favour in Destiny? Because I was a bit of a scout rifle nerd in Destiny, but I find that I really like hand cannons now, especially because I've got
Hooray!
I've got a masterwork one that will drop orbs of light for any multi-kill. So if I shoot 2 enemies in any sort of quick succession, it will sort of spunk out a mote of light.
Boo!
And I think I've followed a similar path there, CJ, because I used to bloody love the scout rifles, and up till very, very recently, I was a scout rifle person. Like I've got one called Haunted Earth, which again, trying to be as black metal as possible.
You'd listen to
really
that band.
suits my character.
Is the name written in that scribbly font where you can't quite see what
Yes,
it says?
it is. It's scrawled on the side of the weapon. But then, a couple of days ago, I got a very nice pulse rifle drop, and it's called Go Figure. And it is just, I didn't realise how fun pulse rifles were before.
I loved them.
The whole kind of like 3, like you pull the trigger and it does that 3 pulse. And it kind of, this one, it might just be me thinking about it too much, but it sounds a lot like the pulse rifle from Aliens. It's got that kind of like, that timbre to the gun sound. It sounds just like that kind of, I mean, the pulse rifle from Aliens is like an iconic sound, and this, it might just be me overthinking it, but it kind of sounds like they've tried to replicate that sound, or at least, kind of cheekily pay homage to it a little bit, I think. Cool. But yeah, it's a very nice. So I'm currently rocking pulse rifles as my main weapon, but just going for my class now. I've got a pulse rifle as my second weapon, and I've got an incredibly powerful rocket launcher as my third. Which once it fires, it explodes into lots of mini grenades.
Yeah, I've got that. It
causes like a cluster bomb. It's really good. I've kept it with me for a very long time.
So you've not gone near grenade launchers then, because who would?
They are terrible. They are really, really bad, aren't they?
Eat my
Eagle,
whole...
lead me onwards.
No, they're terrible.
Eat my whole
To
bomb.
be fair, they're actually a lot better than they were at launch. At launch, they were really weak.
Oh, okay. I've not used them since.
Yeah,
launch.
they've made a lot more
like
powerful.
them.
No, they're a lot more powerful than they were.
Because I never liked the rocket launcher, because I always find that like you've got one shot and then toosh, and then the fucking wizard moves to the left. You're like, you bellend. And you see it fly off into the distance. Whereas the grenade launcher, you can go toom, 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 toom. And it's a really satisfying noise. Like, everyone I've found has got that really sort of nice, hollow toom whenever you shoot one. And just seeing one of those big circle bastards' health just go down by like a third each time, like, yes, this is a good weapon. Get him.
I found every time I shot one, it just kind of limply fell at people's feet and just rolled into the corner.
Well,
and then
it's got an
kind of
arc.
pitted out.
You have to aim up a little bit.
Yeah,
But also,
But then you mix that.
if
You
you're
mix that
aiming
with
at a wizard with a rocket launcher, you anticipate the move and then you fire. Also, having
then it
that
doesn't
extra,
move.
Having that extra sort of buck wash of the splinter grenades coming off and sort of devastating the surrounding area. It's amazing for bounties on that when you've got to clear a certain
get the
amount of
multi-kill
people.
bounties.
Yeah. I hear you, bro.
I don't know. I just don't like them that much. And the swords are a bit this time. I'm not really feeling the swords, but
swords annoy me because why would they use ammo? I'm sorry, it's a sword. It doesn't need ammo.
stick. Come on. Like, I found a thing as well with the grenade launcher. I found with the hunter, you get a special power, like on your upgrade screen. Like just to the left of your class, the hunter gets a dodge. So if you double tap circle, you can do a cool roll. And there's 2 versions. If you do it if you've got the melee version on, if you do the roll near an enemy, you get your melee power back. And I had a thing on my melee power, which was if you do the melee attack, you get your dodge back, so you can just go whoop, stab,
nice.
whoop, stab, whoop, stab, as long as you're near people, and that was quite silly. But the other version is the gunplay one, and if you do a dodge, like so if you do a roll, it reloads your gun.
Oh wow!
So you can go, you get your grenade launcher out, go toom 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 toom, dodge roll, reload gun, toom 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 toom, with like a half-second delay. It's amazing. And it does take a few seconds to recharge, but like that's what I like about the grenade launchers. Like they're just fun, and like for my part, like my guns, I always default back to a hand cannon because I do love a hand cannon. But
so for all that person on the internet that enjoys grenade launchers, you've got a friend.
There is one of you.
Look, when I get my heavy machine guns back, I imagine that I will probably drift back because I did love my heavy machine gun.
I imagine when you get a heavy machine gun back, you're going to be packing a heavy machine gun in every slot.
Oh my god! Imagine.
Yes, my secondary.
Which is a bit like his home life.
Well, hey.
Hey, what are you saying about my wife?
She's metal. So Pete.
So I don't know if anyone else is doing this. Like currently in Destiny 2, I'm doing that very classic MMO thing of like I'm just using whatever shitty blues they give me because it's the best light.
Oh,
so I have these really
random
like
blue at the moment.
So like my fashion sense, like which like I said was not the best for Titans anyway. It's just literally whatever lumps of plastic I found and just slapped on my shins. And then like at the moment I think it's something like hand cannon, sidearm, and then a rocket launcher, I think. But they're just like random blues I found that just make my light the best. But in Destiny 1, I was actually that sad and keen. I had two loadouts. I had my Vanguard loadout was Scout, Sniper, rocket launcher. And my Crucible loadout was Pulse, shotgun, heavy machine gun.
Oh, you were a shotgun wanker, weren't you?
It was what you needed in the Crucible.
Yeah.
It's still apparently nowadays.
I can imagine it'd be awful.
Again, I've not been back into the Crucible since Forsaken dropped, but apparently it's literally.
You can now have shotguns in all three slots. Yeah, it's feasible.
Yeah.
So that's what I like my sidearm for. I found that I really wanted to get back into using sidearms again. So I used to love bringing one of those to Crucible. It was the only way I could like reliably kill people because just kind of you park this tiny little gun and go pat 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 pat, and they just fall down in front of you. Whereas I haven't found it quite as good in the base game working through. Like I used to always keep a sidearm on me, like the Vesti Destiny one that came with House of Wolves. I used to love that bloody gun, but I've not found one yet in Destiny 2 that I like yet.
So what did we think of the European Dead Zone when we got there? I will start off with Pete.
I liked it. It's I'm trying to put it. It's quite. You've got obviously the foresty type part, and then you've also got the sort of Cabal base part, which I mean I don't know if it's like this is we're talking overall. Like I don't know what like everyone's like favorite like enemy types are. Like I personally like the Vex the most, and I think Cabal are pretty dull. I mean, like this.
Yeah, Cabal are pretty standard enemies, aren't they? Like giant. I mean, they look like they belong in Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing. Yeah, they're boring. I'm not a fan.
Their equivalent in Halo wasn't really great either, to be fair. So it just feels like they're a direct transition.
Yeah, fair. So I'm trying to remember. Yeah, so like from what I remember, I like the Ruined Town bit, the bit with Devrim. And the Fallen. I just wasn't particularly keen on the sort of Cabal base part, which is like further into the level.
Seems a bit empty. I've only been there like once, but I know they make the joke about that, with sort of quite a good line, but it just seemed a little like an afterthought. And I think with the way that even in Destiny 2, most levels have a certain level of pizzazz about them. It all looks a little bit kind of The Last of Us PS3. It's got
that's a really good way of describing it.
It's got that kind of I'm used to going to somewhere in Destiny and seeing like purple and pinks in puddles and like strange lighting everywhere. And I mean I mentioned it to to Gav and Pete when we played the other week that the one of the senior designers on the art designers on the first game was on Kong Skull Island. And as soon as I realised that, I was like, that's why he was sitting in a bar in Vietnam and there was a massive pink background and somebody was running through like some lime green smoke. All that makes sense now. And I think that this level sort of stands out quite a lot for me for just having nothing that really sings in it.
Yeah, that's true.
As we're like talking, I've just loaded it up to remind myself of it, and I'm instantly, it's standard apocalyptic ruined like city, really, isn't it? Like you've got the motorway that's all kind of collapsed and broken. And, it's perfect any other game that we find, but like you just said, CJ, that's like Destiny is bright colours and really bold architecture and like you know vistas that just blow your mind when you look at them and you're just like, wow, look at that. You know, I remember going onto the moon for the first time in the the demo of the first one, and just looking up and seeing the planets staring back at you, and they were moving, and I just remember thinking, wow, that's incredible.
But
that
they also
kind of
managed
detail.
They also managed to make the actual moon rock seem like really bright and vibrant when it was just that kind of crisp white grey, and it just seemed like it was reflecting the universe, reflecting like a sun. And you can only imagine sort of a Destiny 2 version of that would just look kind of like the grey that you see in the European Dead Zone.
Yeah, and you know, in terms of like how it looks, like say you described it perfectly as Last of Us, but that works for Last of Us because it's 100%. A post-apocalyptic world and it looks supposed to look ruined and destroyed and stuff. But like I say, just Destiny, it's just a bit too pedestrian almost.
I'd say the most interesting part is the bit that's directly stolen from the Crucible map. Just the church in the middle. It just looks like that church from that Crucible map. That's
wasn't there a
the most
European
interesting
Dead Zone
bit
in the first game, or at least cut out in the first game? I know there was a Crucible level.
It was Russia, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that.
But I mean, the church in the middle of like the first bit is very like the church in that Crucible map, in a very similar looking place with all those red buildings. But this is, it's functional. There's stuff to jump on and stuff to run around in, but I don't know, it's missing something, this first bit, and it's probably the thing, and again, like the rewards you get, like I like Devrim K a lot, but the gear he gives you is kind of very kind of, it's just a scruffy looking sniper gear, like, I want something a bit more mental than that.
I will say, like, I quite like the way the level is designed, the way that it has all these little hidden secrets that you kind of go down into and you go up into, and I quite like the variation in the level. It's just that
it's not colourful enough.
There's that level of just it doesn't sing in the way that the levels have. Even if you're thinking about the first game and the first level in Destiny, it still looked phenomenal. Like you've got those big structures with the kind of space shuttle things on there, and there was loads in the skybox to really steal you away. And yet the ground level stuff still had like these really resonant rust colours, and I don't know. It seems like a bit of a misfire for me on the colour point of view. To go into something else as well, hate point for me, Devin.
On you! Fuck you! Just because he likes tea.
What's wrong with Devin?
If he'd like coffee, he'd be your favourite NPC in the game. You fucking
I'm
transparent man.
Now.
But he's British, so he has to like tea.
You transparent man.
I'm going to state this now. Action man looking motherfucker, moaning about his boyfriend and Coco, threatening to make me tea. I think. He stands at the window. He can't shoot that gun because he shot Mark.
He doesn't ever shoot it.
Because he shot Mark. And now lives in regret. Mark's his boyfriend. That he's like, I remember the Coco I had with Mark. I think he shot Mark and realised the reason that he can't shoot that bloody gun out that window and he just gazes out like he's holding some giant penis is because he shot Mark and he can't pull that trigger anymore.
It does annoy me that he's got this absolutely enormous sniper rifle. He's in a sniper spot, but you never hear him shoot.
No.
It's like,
he doesn't.
Like outside that window, it literally crawls with Cabal, and you are doing.
Yeah,
nothing.
If you ever
You
watch,
can shoot out that window because I've done it. Like
no,
just-
yeah. If
just
you ever
start
watch
firing.
where his bullets go, he always misses. It's quite funny.
Does
he does shoot bullets, but he always misses.
But I like him as a character.
I like him. As a character.
Don't you think it'd be
Nice
kind
man.
of cool if you was leaning out that window and like you got involved in that fight just outside the church, and every now and again you just see an enemy's head pop, and you think like,
Yeah, I think it'd be
hold on,
great.
did that come from the top of the church? That's all they
Yeah.
needed to do.
And then you get a little thing over your comms going, that one's on me, buddy. Or
Absolutely.
something, that, Pop up for a cup of tea when you're
Yeah.
done.
Kettle's on.
I'll threaten you with a bag full of bollocks and milk.
Would you like a crumpet, sir?
Also, the voice
having
actor
crumpet
is
with
Ignis
Mark.
from Final Fantasy 15. So I can't not hear him saying recipe whenever you
Because
talk to him.
he was also in Final Fantasy 12 as well.
See, guys, I don't play terrible video games. So.
Oh.
What
I've never played it.
But we're
Final
on a
Fantasy
boy
15
adventure
looks
now.
great,
Final Fantasy 15 is just that, but with monsters.
I know. I really like looking at Final Fantasy 15.
really
but I've
good.
got 2 kids. I can't play a Japanese RPG anymore. That time is long gone.
Yeah.
He says.
Just playing a Western
Like 50
shooter
hours of
MMO, yeah.
Destiny into- yeah.
This all comes back to that Dylan Moran thing where he said like, why did you have kids? And he was like, so I could get to the point where I'm in my 80s, I'm sat at a dinner table and I can just say to one of them, just piss myself, you deal with it. So moving on to Titan then.
Ooh, I don't remember Titan. I don't
It's
Titan,
can't remember what that was.
All
rigs
rigs in
and
the ocean,
the
yeah.
rolling
Oh.
waves, and then you
Yeah,
dig
you look
down deeper into
Sorry.
that amazing filmic space station with those gorgeous lenticular art walls.
I'm
of the
sorry.
bit that we refer to as Paddyland.
Paddyland.
How did he do them, Paddy? How?
What is that?
How
Look
did-
at that one. How did they do
how did-
that?
How did they do that one though? Oh my
Liter-
God, there's that one.
Literally 10 straight minutes of going, how'd they do that? Look at that, isn't that pretty? Look at that. Wait, if you move this way, it goes, hang on, what the, is there a tree in there? What the, fucking look at, look at the
it's an
colours, look at how
amazing
big this
effect.
is. Whoa!
But also that
also,
that level of
sorry.
pizzazz is back with Titan. I think it's really good fun to play. It's the level that even early on that I ended up sort of looping quite heavily. But the way that it evolves through, the outside where you've got all those huge sort of mountainous waves and stuff, and then it can go into that really like 70s 80s science fiction level, but then it can dig down further and go into sort of the all the hive stuff. I love it. I think it's
It is
great.
lovely.
Yeah, totally.
I think the one thing that blew me away, like the waves look incredible when you go down there. Like they look amazing. Like they are literally gargantuan as you're looking over it. It looks amazing. Considering the distance that you've got from the waves to where you're standing, you can tell how big they are. But also, if you look carefully, there's like monsters in there.
Yeah.
There's like giant reptiles or
Oh, cool.
amphibians or fish or something. They're swimming around in the waves.
I
It's
didn't know
amazing. It's
that.
like a really nice bit of detail. Yeah, you just see them occasionally.
Yeah, it's
And of course, it's constantly pissing down with rain as well. Which
Oh, I
always
love
adds a
it when
nice
it
bit of
rains.
atmosphere.
Also that music, which sounds like some sort of 1950s Russian Cold War education film. It's just like dun, dun, dun. It's
Yeah.
just like all really low, kind of clanky, like military kind of war stuff. It's just delicious.
Yeah,
Anything to add?
no.
I think you
After my
literally
super
just said it
rant.
all.
No, I'm a big fan of Titan, and
Although I don't, I've never really spent a huge amount of time with the NPC there. I can't remember her name now.
Oh, I like her. I think she's good.
But
Sloane.
Yeah,
More
she's
like
Sloane.
Moan.
Always-
Sloane, yeah, she doesn't. I've never really kind of been
Nah, she's
taken
just
by
a
her,
Titan.
so-
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Always,
Well, I didn't
always
realise her
pleased to
voice
see you,
actor-
Warlock. Yeah, go on.
Her voice actor did Delilah in Firewatch.
Oh,
Played
So there you go.
that game was good. Yeah, no, I don't.
was, wasn't
I
it?
don't mind Sloane. She's fine, but she's missing something that the other three have. That I always like going back to see the other three, and she's
Yeah.
like, oh, I can get some bounties from her.
She's not a twat.
She's got no personality.
Nah,
she's
good.
angry soldier lady.
I'm strong
that's how I
and
describe
stoic.
it.
That's my personality.
She's probably got a pot of coffee on there. She's chill as motherfucker, and she's always pleased to see me, Warlock.
She's wanking on
pleased.
about cold brew while we're out here trying to save the world.
What is cold brew, Paddy?
I don't know.
Coffee.
I don't listen.
Whatever.
Come into my life, I got so much love to show.
You got this triple cream roasted brew.
So
Sounds great.
one of the things that I think Halo did very well, which happens on Titan, is occasionally they just give you a level where maybe the challenge wasn't massive, but it was just like, go on then, have a bit of a cunt about. And that might be in a tank, or you might be racing like a warthog or something. And there's that little bit in one of the missions in Titan where it's just like, just go over there, nothing can really stop you. Just drive it down there, and it's just tremendous fun when you get in those little tanks and you just sort of splat.
That was funny. That was glorious. Like, I remember that it was me and you doing it a few nights ago, wasn't it? I just remember just going "Ray" the entire time. Eat shit, Hive. Ray!
I did have obviously in the first game, like the greatest name that I've ever seen on PSN was in Destiny, which was Battle Milk.
The entirely white-coloured man with white hair.
He was wearing Chatterwhite as well, which was great. But I always keep an eye out for great names, and there was one in this the other day, and I was like, that is genius. In the original Destiny, there was OMG a kebab, which was also very good.
I completely concur.
But today was it today or yesterday? I saw a name which is like, I don't know how you came up with that on the fly. I want to think that you've really thought about this, but chances are you've really not. But it is really one of the greatest names I've ever seen on PSN, which was Big Jaffa Cake.
If you'll indulge me, CJ, like I've actually so similarly, this is like one of our favourite things to do in like the tower, like the public areas, just like look at the people like wandering around their dumb names, and just think of these super serious guardians running around with Battle Milk.
I would follow Battle Milk and a Big Jaffa Cake into battle, because I think that there's possibly some crossover.
I was going to say that's probably good duo there. That probably works quite well. But yeah, I've been noting a few names that I've noticed since I went back to Destiny. So in no particular order, it's like there was I Love Snow. Oh yeah. Which bearing on what Gav just said about wintry games, maybe you think it's actually him.
Well, I mean, I couldn't afford 2 PlayStation accounts, so unfortunately it's not. But if I was going to, that's definitely going to be my second.
I saw a good one 2 nights ago. That was, I've got a house.
Fair enough.
That's lovely.
There was A1 Shagger. So
Nice.
either they like shagging obscure 90s boy bands, or they really have a thing for giant pieces of paper, maybe? or they just make themselves really highly.
Sorry. That one's killed me.
Then there was a Randy Lima, which is like, is that just your companion that follows you around, or what? I'm not sure what the story is there. This one I felt quite sad because I was fighting against him in the Crucible, and I actually felt quite bad every time I headshot him because his name was My Dad Left Me.
Oh dear.
Which is quite sinister. I felt kind of bad every time I shot him down. It's like, oh god.
That's. I mean, there's different ways of dealing with like kind of grief and sadness, but I don't think that's going to be over that one, isn't it?
We were going into some stuff in the the Humanities with regards to, because I was saying that on Monster Hunter on PSN, it's kind of nice that they've opened it up to the world, so you've got lots of sort of Japanese names and stuff. And when I first started playing it on Xbox One, I was very sensitive to the fact that there were a lot more base level names than I'd seen sort of on the PSN version, and I noticed things like Lyong Dick.
Yeah,
which was LYONG DYCK, and then the absolutely magnificent Poo Bomb,
Pooh Bomb.
Pooh Bum.
Wow.
Yeah, and then there was one guy that had got this very sort of Game of Thrones Victorian name, and when he got on the monster, it came up on the screen, "Imma gonna ride you like a bronco, girl."
And on that note, actually, the last one I had down was when in Curse of Cyrus you go to Mercury, and then you go to the lighthouse, which is like the sort of the vendor area. And as I was going to the vendor, there was just one guy there, standing there, and his name was John's Jizz. And the funny thing, John's Jizz. And the funny thing about John's Jizz, that he was orange colour, which made me think of Paddy, and then just made me think of Paddy covered in John's Jizz.
Oh, why?
Oh. It's no worse than thinking of him drinking tea, to be fair.
Get out.
Nessus.
I like Nessus. I like Nessus.
Nessus
I like
brings
the
a
robot
bit
lady.
of the super pizzazz back. That's the first sort of level that made me go, "Oh my god, look at those colours."
Yeah.
Remind me what Nessus is.
It's the one with the Vex, the one that we were playing about the other week.
Snarky AI.
Red trees and green floors and
orange leaves and
it's that area reminds me so much of kind of like 70s sci-fi kind of choose your own adventure books, like the sort of like that airbrushed artwork, like the kind of thing that I would obsess over as a kid. Just like I was too stupid and young to understand the rules of the story, but I just used to like just stare at the artwork, and the worlds were just incredible. So yeah, that definitely brings back that kind of feel to me. It reminds me, I can just imagine it being like some prog rock band's artwork.
Yeah,
it's got that kind of feel to it.
Should be on the side of a van.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
I see. My favourite part again about this whole area. I think it looks beautiful, but I really like the shit computer woman, Failsafe, I think her name is. And there's I think a bit in one of the, if you do one of the public events, it's like, oh, it looks like the Vex might be building something. Do some calculations. They are. And your ghost just goes, every single time.
Paddy loved Failsafe, laughing at her every sentence, and I was happy for him. But amidst the silence of voice chat, I rolled my eyes and sighed a lot. This can also be used as our individual reviews of the film Thor Ragnarok.
Whoa, come on now, let's not go down this rabbit hole. Thor Ragnarok was fantastic. Yes, it was. I mean, we can do this some other time.
I would argue that you're Thor Ragnar wrong about this.
Oh, that's lovely.
More like saw rag and a cock.
No.
Don't do Gav's thing.
No.
You see, right? I had to sort of
that's
try
his
and get
thing.
Scribble, but that's failed.
There's part of me that kind of agrees with you a little bit, because the whole AI losing its mind after being alone on a planet for so many years, blah blah blah. It's a fairly tired and done trope, but I actually think it's been done quite well here. I found her quite funny.
I don't know. I can kind of compare it to Ordis in Warframe, which I think does this better.
I think you mentioned that the other night.
Yeah.
I've not played enough Warframe to kind of know, but
I know.
Yeah, fair enough if they have.
I don't know. I think that the way that Warframe evolves as well, they add a lot more to Ordis and in the way that he acts. And there's even a certain point after one of the first sort of big story quests where you're kind of stripped of power and like your own ship doesn't recognise you anymore, and it starts to turn on you, and Ordis starts basically having a go at you, and then you just hear this whisper and going like, if you go out this way you can get there, and it's just like, oh my god, that's so good.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was really neat, but yeah, I can only kind of compare it to that really, but yeah, Failsafe didn't quite hit with me, but I've mellowed on her sort of since it's
don't like
along.
anyone fun.
Well, we get along, so that proves the point.
This maybe have to be another conversation, like a longer conversation for another time, but I am curious to hear what you guys think, bearing in mind obviously you've come from D1 to Warframe, then sort of back to D2, like how what you've sort of experienced in Warframe compares to this now. Like, I mean, even simple things like how like easy the customization options seem to be in Warframe compared to, like, you know, the shader nonsense, and whether it be the whole progression, storytelling, I'll be just curious to see how you guys think, what you guys think of it, whether that's coloured some of the stuff you experienced in Destiny, or maybe you appreciate more what you've done.
That's a massive question.
I think that, I mean, to jump in, I think that
I'm going to answer yes.
Whilst there are
calculating, yes.
There are sort of base similarities to the the general sort of feel of the games within, they're both sort of spacefaring looter sci-fi games. They are tremendously different. I think that what Warframe's done, for better and for worse, is that it's done what Destiny said it was going to do when it started, that it was going to be iterative, and that if somebody sort of started Destiny, they would start Destiny and maybe build all the way through Taken King to Rise of Iron, then go to Destiny 2. You get this big adventure that was sort of stretching out, and Warframe has done that. And the early parts of Warframe are from like 5 years ago, even though they've been like touched up a touch. They are much older, and it takes like 100 hours until you get into like it starts doing story stuff. And Warframe is a brilliantly imperfect game, that there's lots of things that it withholds from the player, for better and for worse. You can kind of go like, well, this isn't exactly spelled out for me, but the way that we went into it, there were lots of folks figuring it out alongside us, and it's quite nice in a Dark Souls way to have these little secrets that you kind of have to peel away and figure out. So it is much more of an enigma, I'd say, than Destiny. Destiny is this just wonderfully buttery smooth adventure that's people talk in ways that they don't get to talk in otherwise. There's been no game that's brought people together in the same way as Destiny. I remember on 8.4 Play they said that Destiny was even used for meetings where people in games companies were talking about like working with one another, and they'd be like, "Oh, have you got Destiny?" and they'd just hash shit out whilst shooting things.
That's an incredible idea.
Yeah, and
I'm going to bring that in at work.
Yeah. And I suppose it's so they are very different games, whilst having like a core similarity. But I like to think that one pushes the other on, and especially the fact that Warframe's like built itself very, very slowly and to the point where it's this sort of plucky challenger now, and there's barely 200 people working on that game, whereas there's over 1,000 at Bungie. That's kind of cool. I like to see the little man roll their sleeves up and take a swipe. But I think Bungie dropped the ball. I think they tried to be exploitative of their players. They took their player base for granted, and at a point where they come on, the only point where they come on stream is when they've got to flog you something. Warframe's doing 3-4 streams a week, talking to their audience, and I saw it mentioned with Destiny 2 and with these kind of games in general, that if a game is in a good place, then that earns you a lot of cachet within your audience for maybe making missteps. And I think it's taken a long time for Bungie to kind of double down and realise how important this is. And having that point where they brought in like YouTubers and players from across the globe for that meeting where they sat down and they aired it all, aired all the grievances, and they found a way forward from there. So it's interesting to watch the rise of both of them, but Bungie have to have an eye on digital extremes with the things that they're doing, but also the market's opening up now, so you're getting the Division sort of rolling into the Division 2. You've got Anthem just round the corner. It's not the same market that they had sewn up early on, and I think they're wise to be mindful of fucking up, basically. Long answer.
No, fair enough.
It's way easier to be orange in Warframe.
CJ gives this
Like, drop.
immensely, like almost planned, poetic answer, and Paddy comes back with, "Yeah, you can be orange."
That said, if we are going to the palettes in Warframe, they are really good, and there's one in particular that's just like this iridescent toy palette, and it just looks phenomenal. It's the best one of the lot, and you can always get sort of a good looking frame out of that. No doubt.
I will say, my short amount of time that I played Warframe, probably only about 6 hours or so, I did like the customization options because I could basically make myself look like Spawn.
Yeah,
Of course,
with
you did.
minimal effort.
Yeah, and then I like that, and the customization you could do for your ship seemed a lot simpler as well.
Yeah, my ship looked like Spider-Man. My frame looked like Spawn. It was,
Well, they ended up opening up a lot of stuff with the. You remember when Destiny told us that you couldn't move the ships while they were flying because it was too difficult. Like Warframe's opened it up where they've got a new part of your ship now where you've got quarters where you can have a jukebox, and you can the fish that you get on the plains of Eidolon you can put into tanks that are on the walls. Whichever frame that you're wearing, there will be a toy version of it in a case on the walls. And they even gave away, like on one of the streams, a tea set that you can just put on the side of your craft, because it's like, of course somebody would want to put the kettle on.
Oh, but you're okay with a tea set in Warframe, but not.
Loose terms, obviously. with mine,
He's a tricksy bitch.
There'd be a mocha pot somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Thanks everyone for listening to 10 the Humanities. It kind of switched halfway there.
No, but it's kind of neat how they've opened that up, and even sort of within the original Destiny, I really like Peter Dinklage. I like somebody that seemed grumpy, and I'm still not keen on Nolan North. Although he didn't
seem grumpy, he seemed like he was phoning his performance. And he went, "How much?" I'll do it.
I kind of liked it that he sounded like someone that just really couldn't be arsed with waiting 3 spins to open door. Whereas, like Nolan North is kind of this sort of innocent C-3PO impression, which just seems a little bit happy-go-lucky.
And maybe it might be because I'm so familiar with his voice, but Nolan North just sounds like Nolan North no matter what he's trying to do. Unless it's the Penguin in the Batman games.
No, I didn't get that from this. It doesn't sound very Nolan North to me.
Really?
Maybe because the ghost isn't going crap every 5 seconds.
and now he's Cade 6 and Forsaken.
Yeah, that was really weird as well, because I mean you've basically there you've got what's his name?
Nathan Fillion.
I've completely forgotten. Not Nathan Fillion, the guy from Nathan Drake. You've got Nathan Drake voicing a character played by Nathan Fillion. You've got Nathan Fillion playing a character voiced by in the Uncharted live action fan film. That threw me off quite a bit. I will say, playing through that mission though, it was really strange to not hear Nathan Fillion's voice, because obviously Nolan North does a fairly decent impression of him. It's not too difficult because they are very similar, especially if he basically just channels his Nathan Drake. Nathan Drake was based off Nathan Fillion, even if they've never admitted to it. He definitely was. But it was really off-putting to not hear it was really strange to hear someone else doing that voice, even though, like I say, it's a great impression of him, but it was just like, this is Nolan North doing an impression of Nathan Fillion. It never really sounded right to me. Like, Cade didn't sound right, even though at the same time he sounds exactly the same, if that makes any sense at all. Especially given, I don't want to spoil anything, but given the story of Forsaken, if you don't know it yet,
blah 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 blah.
But having
really, Paddy, how have you avoided this? They literally blurt it out at like E3 and just went, "Oh, here's a story."
But
it's a story about how Cade 6 saves the world.
This is
that's what happens.
The strange thing, though, that even if Fillion was retiring from playing Cade 6, why wouldn't he
do it here?
The final.
Yes,
the final
I heard it
roll
was
of the dice.
It was purely scheduling conflicts that stopped it from happening.
Allegedly.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's always. I don't want to go too much into the hearsay of the politics or anything, but surely Nathan Fillion's always had a good good rapport with Bungie.
Yeah,
He's been in their game since. Did he do a voice in Halo 2, or was it ODST where he started?
He's done most of the games, I think. I think he's even in the first one.
Is he? Fantastic. So it wouldn't. I don't think it's a case of him turning around going, "I really don't want to do this anymore." Because it's Nathan Fillion. He literally lives to do fan stuff. That's his career. So that whole thing seems a bit strange. Like I say, why couldn't he just recorded his lines over a telephone or something?
I think the thing is as well that when I was playing it initially, the first part where I kind of perked up in the game was when Fillion came in on Nessus.
Yeah,
because all of a sudden it's just like the lines have just got that. I don't care if like Nolan North does a great impression of him or not, but Fillion just delivers them with like a snap and a pop that's very much him.
He's got incredible timing. Like his comedy, little quirks that he'll do, and it just doesn't feel right. But then at the same time, they seem to have changed his character. He's basically Deadpool. Like every sentence ends with a joke.
Nolan North has also voiced in a video game.
Yes, he has, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Voice acting's weird.
Yeah, you're either Troy Baker or you're Nathan Fillion. There we go, I'm doing it. This is probably what they wanted. But yeah, sorry, that's a complete side story there, but I did just find the whole thing a bit strange that it's not Nathan Fillion voicing Cade, because to me, Cade is Nathan Fillion, just with a horn on his head.
So, IO then?
IO!
How much?
Word.
No,
that was pretty good.
Yeah,
no, I
got
enjoyed
you.
that. I enjoyed
It
that.
was a bit of a
Sorry.
delay, but it was the intelligent man's comment.
What?
Whereas we were, what? Not yours. Jesus Christ, not yours.
Oh.
IO seems pretty, but a bit barren thus far. But I do like those kind of sea crustacean bits. They're really good.
I like Grumpy Space Grandpa.
I know you do.
God, he likes to do
no
science
and
experiments, and nothing's ever right, and you're a fool compared to him.
He hasn't got an arm.
He hasn't got an arm. It plays up when the Vex are getting involved, like when someone's missing an arm, and like, oh, it's going to rain soon. Why? Because my arm aches. Like, oh, I like that. And like the gear you get from there is good, and it's my hangout place. I don't think it's the prettiest place to look at. I think that's definitely Nessus, or that bit of Titan Paddyland. But I don't know. It's just a fun place to hang out. I like hanging out here. I like doing missions. I like just the way that the public events work around here as well. I just it's the first place I come every time. I always go and see Grandpa.
I love the is it the Pyramidion? The giant structure that just juts out from the ground, the Vex structure. Yeah, I think that looks incredible. I'm a big fan of like just gargantuan structures like that, like inhuman-sized things. Like I always liked.
I like a big triangle.
Parts. Yeah, I love triangles. It reminds me a little bit of Mass Effect. So Mass Effect 2, one of the planets just had these enormous structures just kind of jutting out from the ground, and just that level of scale. I think it pulls it off really well. Like the planet just seems to be just enormous, and there's all these skeletons of like long dead beasts kind of lolling around the place as well.
I think there's something from what you were saying about like prog rock covers as well. There's something really quite like dry brushed and painterly about like the rocks, how they bleed in from that kind of mustard into like the dark sort of black. It almost looks as if somebody's gone over it with a dry brush. It's kind of neat.
But I mean, it's not the most fascinating of places though, and it's right like Jupiter's in the sky. I fucking love Jupiter. It's my favourite planet. Everyone's got one. And there's like I'm literally looking at it right now whilst we're talking. There's like the Aurora Borealis kind of knocking around in the background. So like you've got this amazing kind of green blue hue to the entire place. But unlike the water planet, which name I've completely forgotten.
Titan.
So Titan, yeah, sorry. It's not like that's got kind of 3, maybe 4 levels of different kind of environment to it. This is basically like the upper ground green stuff or the below ground Vex stuff. And that's kind of it. So the variety is not really there, but like I say, I like what's here. I just don't like the NPC.
Boo!
Yay! So, Pete, any favourites within the lands of IO?
No, I mean, I'm much the same as Gav, really. I'm not a fan of grumpy mad scientist.
Double boo!
And also the Taken are here, and it's just like, oh god, not you guys again. Fucking Taken.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. I don't like the Vex. Although I do like the Vex, I just don't like those. Is it the not Harbingers? It's the dickheads that shoot you from really far away, and you shoot them once, and they get a shield, and you can't shoot them again for about 5 seconds.
Yes.
But then you shoot them again, and you do them in one shot because the shield comes off.
Yeah, but they're terrible enemies. Like, right, let's do this enemy where you shoot it, and then you have to just stand there staring at it for 5 minutes whilst it builds its shield back.
Yeah, they are
if
pricks.
If you shoot their heads off, they don't shield up.
Yeah, but they're so far away sometimes.
I will say with the Taken, like one of the things the other night that story wise that made me go, and I'm not going to spoil it for people that have not gotten to that yet, but the kind of the plan that Gaul's got with the Traveller, I thought was really interesting with the kind of the evolution of the Taken. I was like, oh, that's really good. I like that a lot. So
I'm going to have to remind myself of what it is because it's been so long since I did the story.
I'm curious to see how it evolves, but yeah, I just thought it was an interesting twist.
I like the Taken. I think they're a great looking enemy, but it's just like, hello, we killed your king, guys.
They've got the best weak spots because they glow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is always useful.
So why do we think the game is back? Why have they nailed it now rather than a year ago, or even when the previous DLCs have hit?
I think the amount of content helps. They've had a year to build it up, but like we were saying earlier, with all the different bounties and quests and adventures and lost
sectors.
I was going to say valleys, but that doesn't make any sense.
Vikings.
There's lost Vikings. You have to find 3 of them per level. There's so much more to do now, and obviously you've got a year's worth of strikes to work your way through, as well as new ones that have come out. It just seems like that for me. They've finally given me something to do, and that's important.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out to what we were discussing before earlier, about how it was kind of felt like Bungie were hampering progression in the early days. They've consciously made obviously it's been nearly a year, maybe 2 years since it came out, and they've changed. Obviously, to someone who's playing it, they're all very small, gradual changes. But then for us who haven't played it for a year or maybe never, in Paddy's case, it's it feels like they've changed a hell of a lot and more in the right direction, and it's sort of they have sort of righted the ship, so to speak. And then also similarly, I think like Gav said as well, it's I think at the moment it's rewarding you for what you want to do. So we all know we all play fairly differently. I burnt through the story content quite quickly. And apologies, CJ, I spoiled something for you the other day, which I didn't realise because you on paper you are a higher level than me. I was like, oh, you must have finished the story ages ago. I was like, no.
Have you never met him? Have you never seen how he fucking... He's level 47 and he hadn't been to bloody IO.
Yeah, but that's the point.
I don't understand how you do that.
It's still rewarding CJ for pottering around, relaxing, doing the odd patrol or doing the odd mission here and there. But that's the way CJ wants to play it, and it's still giving you stuff and rewarding you for that. Whereas,
I think the cliche of kind of me playing the way that I do is that within
because you're a
my
bell
shifts
end.
Thanks for your support. Within sort of my shifts, I can go from a late shift to an early shift, on any given day, and sometimes there's a degree of fatigue that's attached to that, and sometimes you don't want anything that's too chatty, or sometimes you just need to kind of relax into something and play a bit of a game that dissolves you from your day before you kind of pass out and stuff. So there's sometimes those early mornings can have a degree of fatigue on the end of them. So yeah, it's nice to have games that I can do that in, but also it does mean that when I've got a little bit more clarity, I can steamroll through things because I am humongously powerful.
Yeah, and then exactly, and it's like I said, it's not like telling you off. It's not saying, "Oh no, go play the story. You're not going to, what you're doing isn't going to reward you." And similarly for me, like I said, I just went back and did Curse of Osiris. And even though obviously that came out like however many years ago, it's giving me stuff that's appropriate for like my level. So it is rewarding me for doing it. So I'm like, I feel more engaged because I want to see the story content. I want to play, and like I say, because it's rewarding me, I feel more engaged. And I like, I wanted to play Warmind. It might be, what Gav said, it might be a bit shorter, but it's giving me stuff for doing it. So why not?
It's, I don't know if this is new. I've never noticed it before, but I like to play strikes. Like CJ said, sometimes I'll just put the game on to kind of relax.
Yeah.
And my way of doing that is just sit in a strike playlist and just shoot things in the face
mate.
and gain loot.
Yes, mate.
One of the things that they've added to it now, and I'm not sure when they added this, but you can set your level for it. So I was doing a playlist the other day, and it was just like 300, 400 or 500, like what light level are you, or like basically you can raise it to 500 if you want a challenge.
Oh right.
Yeah.
So
shit.
like as I was getting towards the end of the DLCs and stuff here, the loot dropping from strikes wasn't good enough for me anymore. I wasn't getting anything high enough, but now if I fancied it, like I can keep playing strikes until I hit the light level.
Yeah.
That's neat.
And
Holy shit.
that's what I'm
You're not gated out.
No,
That's
exactly.
good.
Yeah, it's
That's
not like
really
there's.
neat.
It got to the point in Destiny 1 as well where it's just like there's no point doing strikes anymore because it's dropping loot at like 100 light level or whatever below what I'm on. So there's no point in me doing that anymore. But now there's a reason, if I'm understanding it correctly anyway, there's a reason for me to keep playing strikes because it will constantly be rewarding.
That's brilliant.
And one day I'll get the exotic drop of the stag, so I can look as black metal as possible.
But it's exactly that. I mean, because like none of us are particularly focused on the Crucible. Like we play around with it occasionally. But similarly, if that was your thing, you can legitimately play the Crucible and be rewarded with like stuff at the end of the matches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we've also got some more Destiny stuff. Insert Coin have shown off a forthcoming glimpse of new apparel, as the Americans call it. Chief amongst them a rather tasty Future War Cult t-shirt, which had more than a few of us cooing.
We all went, fuck.
like Fashion Pigeon. It was really funny as well because I was thinking about sort of past Paddy, like on Destiny, like with the original Destiny. Oh no, I am done with this game. I buy him the DLC as a Christmas present. Paddy's back, gets Taken King, Rise of Iron, then gets medically treated by an actual real-world doctor for sparrow racing addiction and withdrawal medicine. Unspoken game yet to be podcasted. Favourite of Pads from what? 2, maybe 3 E3 shows? Oh no, I'm not interested in that. Coerces Ginger Spider Monkey into getting it. And to quote from a real-world scientist, the equation that shows just how much you enjoyed it, Paddy: beef plus fun equals Kobe's.
Ooh.
There's no denying that. It's science. Destiny 2. Oh no, I've had enough games to play. Really not interested in it. Pad plays Destiny 2. I am talking to people from Insert Coin about forthcoming t-shirts. I am buying the DLCs. I can't help but do bounties and run all over the place. Sports, medicine plus sports, also science equals fun. That's you, mate.
That is you.
It pretty much happened again.
Yeah,
it happened again. It fucking keeps happening. Why does this shit keep happening? It happened again.
Yeah.
You're very easy
Who
to
knows
persuade.
what's good for you, Paddy? Me.
I had absolutely no interest in buying this DLC. I was all ready to buy Spider-Man, and then CJ's done it to me as well, and here I am. I'm playing it right now.
Infuriating bellend.
And now I'm just going to wait until Spider-Man's dropped in price, and I'm probably going to enjoy it.
And it's funny.
So I'm going to. Sorry, Pete.
I was just saying it's funny as well because even after Pad, like our last bastion of I am not going to touch this was Gav Russell, and even he's bowed to peer pressure now. So yeah.
Has he really?
What?
Yeah.
Yay!
Really?
Yeah, he bought it the other day.
I didn't know this.
What?
I thought he did. Oh no. Am I now getting Gav's?
I don't know if he has.
Gav, Gav, you're listening to this, buy it.
I brought it. Yeah.
Gav, why aren't you listening to this?
I brought it the other day.
So clearly, my faux pas at the start of this episode was just some sort of lightning vision through time that I had no control over, and I didn't get the surname wrong of the specific Gav on the show. It was,
you know what?
It was controlled by
I'm
high
glad
power.
he doesn't play. I'm glad he's out. I don't want him to play anymore. I like being the only Gav.
The only
Gav, which
Gav.
one?
Yeah. You need to change that to your Twitter handle, I think. So,
the only Gav.
So
yeah.
one other thing, when we were playing the other week, I had no idea that you, sir, were as much of a lore nerd for Destiny as you are, because the grimoire's being released in hardcover format now, which seemed like a strange move initially, given the apathy that Bungie had previously shown towards the lore. But with them employing now someone to actually work on it specifically moving forward, perhaps the new attention means an appreciation of just how much this universe means for such a lot of people, to the point that some people find themselves diving deeply into Wikipedia, maybe at work, and in turn blowing my mind, Gav. The things that you told me about, like Cade 6, my word.
I think it was about 11:30 at night, actually.
Was it?
But yeah, like I think I just wanted to find out what the dash number was on all Exos. So I ended up reading into Exo lore, and it turns out that is how many times they have been reset. So like when their memory banks or whatever it is they have start to fail, they get reset. So Cade, for instance, has been reset 6 times, and the more you get reset, the more about your past life you forget. So our man in the tower, whose name I can't remember, that ends with a dash.
Banshee.
The gunsmith,
Banshee.
yeah. Yep. Banshee 44. He's been reset 44 times.
I remember reading about that.
And
that hurt me.
He's actually got a line. He's got a line in this this DLC. He says something along the lines of, I can't really remember much about my past, but I do remember this.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really cool touch, and I don't know if you want me to say the thing about Cade.
Do it,
CJ. I don't know. Yeah,
do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I read, Cade's. I thought, I'm on Cade's page. I'll read into his backstory. I'm paraphrasing slightly, so again, if someone's screaming at their choice of audio equipment at the moment, I do apologise. But essentially, it turns out that Cade was a gambler in his human life, got himself into some horrendous debt, couldn't pay it, and the only way to kind of really set his wife and child up for future was to sell himself to the Braytech Corporation to become an Exo. And obviously in doing this he lost majority of his memories, and the only thing he could remember from his time as a human was that he's got a child who he called Ace, which is why his gun is called the Ace of Spades.
What?
Yeah, and there's a line in the trailer, which is also in one of the gameplay cinematics, that is genuinely like, when you know that fact, it's kind of heartbreaking.
Say it.
Like, he looks at his gun and he says, "I'm coming home, Ace."
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Sake.
Yeah, and it was genuine. Like when I don't do this very often. I'm a fairly kind of I don't get attached to kind of characters like this. But it genuinely gave me some goosebumps when he said that. I was just like, "Oh fucking hell, that's me gone."
That's really good.
So I thought for a game that hides its lore, just reading that little snippet there, it made me instantly go onto Amazon and buy the Grimoire thing just to see what other little kind of snippets
What
of
is
the
it
lore
out?
No. It's 1936. I can tell you that much. That's how much it costs.
Oh, that's cheap.
Thank you, Amazon. Bungie. Yeah. Me too. That's exactly why. I think it's a pre-order thing at the moment. So I'll put a pre-order in for it, and I'll be getting that. But yeah, just that little bit of lore about Cade made me appreciate the character so much more, and just the kind of the writing that Bungie have put into this game is obviously fantastic, but they just haven't
Put it in the game.
shown you it. Yeah,
Like,
so it's like the kind of the opposite of Dark Souls, where you've got this amazing writing and you have to search for it. It's there if you want it.
in Destiny,
Bungie
you have to
just forgot
search for
put
it,
that
but
part
you
in.
search in Google. Like,
Yes, I'm on Destiny.wiki.
I swear, what I don't understand what they were thinking with that grimoire. I don't understand. I still don't get it. Again, this is a 4-year-old argument at this point. Just put it in the game. You've unlocked some lore.
Give me a tab
can I read
where
it?
I can read
no.
it. Yeah, you have to go onto the app that's on your phone.
Load your companion
and you have to
app.
read it
And
there.
at the time, I had a shit phone. I was like, well, I'm not doing that because it won't load. It's a very slow phone. You've technology fucked me. You've gatekeeped.
Hold on.
And
With regards to this grimoire, they've got the Destiny
The book.
Grimoire Anthology for 1936, which
Yes.
we see the cover, and it's all sort of lovely and hardcover and nice. And then
It appears to be
underneath
embossed
it,
as well. So
we've got Destiny Grimoire Anthology Dark Mirror Volume 1, which is coming out a month later, which is hardcover.
Okay.
So is there?
I don't know what that
I
is.
presume there's going to be more of them then.
Well, I hope so, because I'm going to. I don't have a bookshelf at the moment, but I'm going to build a bookshelf and line it with these as if they were the Encyclopedia Britannica my parents had.
I want you to play the music from the farm as you're doing it. So it's almost like, hey, you got that bit of wood? Sound like my impression of Jerry Maguire. Hey, you got that bit of wood? Might as well build a bookcase. Never built a bookcase before. Now I'm gonna.
Yep, exactly that. And I want my kids to sit there reading it, so they grow up with all the useless facts about a fake world, as if I grew up with all the useless facts about the world that I learned from the Encyclopedia.
And then there's old Gav like going to his children, going like, "So what are you?" I'm starting to sound like that bloke on IO. What are you going to call your first child then? And then one of your children just goes, "Ace," and you're like, I'm so tired that my face muscles don't move, but a single tear is dropping down my eye. That's when I left Shawshank. And then I don't know. It's
fine. Just rebeat yourself into an EXO. It'll be fine.
This has been a good natter. I've enjoyed it a supreme amount.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm not surprised at all, because I'm sure if we were playing Destiny tonight we'd be chatting for longer, but we've managed to chat for quite a long time about a game that none of us have really played for almost a year.
So yeah, it's been good. Thank you very much for joining us, Gav and Pete.
No, thank you for having us. Yeah, let's all try and get on a game of Gambit at some point.
Oh
yeah,
shit! Yeah,
we need to do that.
Be nice to...
Also, we need to get Ellie on it so that she can scream profanities down the
in a very posh voice.
Incredibly posh, slightly Canadian twanged voice.
Yeah. What's that about?
How do I finish? And I think if with enough pressure we can probably get Gav Russell to play as well.
Dude,
although I think he's
that's on
a
you,
quest to. It possibly is, yeah. I know he's on a quest to apparently play literally every Switch game as and when it is released. So I don't know if he's ever going to have time to play Destiny again, but I'm sure we can kind of cool.
The rainbow needs you.
At this point.
Yeah, I'll just send in the video of the Taken King raid and just go. Remember,
Rainbow.
It was fun, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out those vids because
Yeah, I will. I'll send the links to the DM group when we're done here.
That's not for you, podcast listeners. That's just for us.
No. But if you need to, they are on YouTube, so if you're clever, you can search it out.
Yeah, or you can ask us. And
if not, there's literally 10,000 other videos on there of people playing Destiny, so just watch that instead.
So, Twin Destiny Episode 7. Who thought that was ever going to happen?
Christ. Is this the point where we say goodbye and I roll the music that might be the wrong music?
Yeah. I trust you, I don't. Bye.
Press the button. Bye everyone.